And good afternoon. Welcome to Subiaco Oval. It's grand final day. As you can see, all roads lead to Subiaco Oval today on this magnificent warm spring day. We're estimating the crowd at about 25,000 already, and the possibility of it getting up to 30, even 35,000 by the time the big match gets underway in about 25 minutes from now. West Perth and Subiaco. They last met in 1973 when Subiaco defeated West Perth. West Perth haven't won a grand final since 1975. It's been a long drought for the Falcons, Trevor, but the supporters have come out to see them today after that magnificent second semi-final.
And it looks like being a repeat of that sort of style of game, TJ. Everything falling into place for West Perth. It's hot. They have a very tall side. They had a rest last week. Subiaco, a really hard game against East Fremantle, and really it's falling into place for the Falcons for their first premiership in 20 years.
Good to see, Wal, people supporting the WAFL like this.
Yes, it's fantastic, Trevor, isn't it? As you said, probably about 25,000 people here at the moment. We're still more than 30 minutes away from bounce down, so I think it's fair to say that we'll get a crowd of about 30,000, and that's a real boost for the WAFL competition and an endorsement of what we've seen this year, and in particular what we've seen from these two teams, Subiaco and West Perth. There's no doubt in my mind that the two best teams have got through to the grand final.
Well, we'll talk more about the game, the team lineups coming up very shortly. We'll go back and delve into the history of these two famous clubs. But firstly, the Colt early today was won by Claremont. They defeated Subiaco, but Subiaco won the reserves a short time ago by a margin of 13 points over the Sharks, Trev, but a good game of footy.
Yes, and the Sharks had a chance actually right at the end. They attacked incessantly late in the last quarter, or the last 10 or 15 minutes. They couldn't convert. They kicked 11-21 to 15-16. They had one more scoring shot, not successful in victory. So maybe the first leg of a double for Subiaco today.
Interesting to note too, Trevor, that the Subiaco reserves were coached by Dennis Blair, who was the Simpson medalist in 1973 in the game between Subiaco and West Perth. So good first up performance by him as a coach. There's
a lot of history regarding that 1973 grand final. We'll talk more about that later too. Right now, soaking up the atmosphere at ground level is former AFL star John Anea. Good afternoon to you, John.
Good afternoon, Trev. Well, look, Wally's guesstimate wasn't too bad at all. We've just finished counting, and we reckon it's around about 26,500 at the moment. But just coming into the ground today, that's well and truly a huge amount of people just milling around the turnstile. So I think the prediction of around 30,000 will very much be spot on. I guess it's a real contrast, isn't it, to the games that we've had during the year, you know, where you tend to get the smaller crowds, but the atmosphere that I think here today, it's going to be very much appreciated by the players.
Thanks a lot to John Anea. He'll be downstairs. Ashley Dillon will join him a little later as everything starts to move into place for this grand final of 1995. Well, things really got underway on Friday afternoon with the grand final parade through the streets of Perth. It started at about 7 minutes to 1, as you can see there. Another magnificent spring day. West Perth were leading the cavalcade with some of their stars, their coach, John Dimmer there, and Ian Downsborough. And it was good to see, Trevor, this type of promotion prior to the big day today.
Yes, and I think it has an effect on the crowd that turn up. It does certainly tell the shoppers in Perth that there's a game on Sunday, and I think that's had an effect here. And yes, like Wally, I'm tipping perhaps 35,000 today. Dwayne Lamb and Jason Heatley there. Two very important players to Subiaco, and that's David Snow.
They made their way around then to Forest Place, where several players were introduced. There's the umpires for today, Aaron Starcevic, Sam Cronje in the middle, and Trevor Garrett. Plenty of balloons from both sides, and a lot of people having a good look at the proceedings from vantage points during the lunch hour on Friday. Gary Carboth interviewed Paul Mifka and others. And as you can see, the press were there to capture that photo you might have seen in the West Australian, Gary Buckenara and John Dimmer. Well, I took the opportunity of speaking to John Dimmer and Todd Curley from West Perth, and I asked John about his fairy tales run this season with West Perth.
It's been a tremendous year. Yeah, the pre-season was great. A couple of hiccups mid-season, but we've come home very well. And obviously we're in the big one, so you couldn't ask for much more than that.
And a great second semi-final. You must have been pleased with the way they played in that second semi.
Yeah, I can remember sitting back in the coach's box thinking, this is one great game of football we're watching here. And I think for a few minutes there, the old tactics disappeared out of the head. I was so impressed with the standard of the game.
Well, I got a bit emotional too. I thought it was the best game I'd seen in 10 years of broadcasting football. Both sides, they're two great teams, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the contests that we've had all year have been very good. I know they won fairly comfortably at Joondalup in the first game, but then we had a reasonably comfortable win over them mid-season, but the last two have just been outstanding.
Sometimes when that happens, and then you get into a grand final, one side can split it open. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I can remember the draw back in the old VFL days, North Melbourne, Collingwood. and the next game was really blown wide open. I guess that could happen, but fingers crossed for the public that it's a close one. I'm hoping we blow it wide open, of course.
Anything can happen. Maybe a repeat of 1975.
Oh, it could be, yeah, that'd be nice.
John, your coaches get feelings. What's been your gut feeling this week around the club?
I've been very impressed with the way the boys have approached it. I think the disappointment of 2 years ago is still there, and even the disappointment of the preliminary final last year is still there. And I would say they're very keen to try and overcome what's happened in the last 2 years. So, very focused group of footballers.
Everybody fit?
Yes, everybody's fit, other than the long-term injuries that we had. But for the guys who went out in the second semi, we've got everybody available.
You think it may be a physical game?
I think all grand finals are physical, especially in the first 15 or so minutes. Both sides going hard at the football, try to sort each other out. So I don't see this one being any different.
Jason Heatley's been a thorn in your side. Any particular attention you'll pay to him that may be different?
I think he's been a thorn in everybody's side, kicking 120 goals for the year. I don't think there'll be anything major that we do that's different. I think we just have to try and cut down the supply midfield so he doesn't get it so easy.
You've got the talented players that can do that.
I think so, yeah. Darren O'Brien, Darren Harris, the captain, Neil Mildenhall, Ashley Blurton and company that can play midfield. They are a very good group of footballers.
I heard Darren Harris say during the week it's not a team of stars, but when you look at it, both sides have got plenty of stars, haven't they?
Subiaco have got some very experienced players, plus some exciting youngsters, and I think we're in the same category. People may not know the names as well because the WAFL doesn't get the publicity that it used to, but when you actually watch them through the whole year, you can sit back and say these are very good footballers.
They're a very good side, Subi, and I think we've got a pretty good side, pretty evenly matched, play pretty attacking footy, so yeah, I'd say it'd be close.
You've been the instigator of attacks from the half-back flank. Is that something John Dimmer has instilled in your game in particular?
Not really. I think when I first came back, he was sort of thinking of playing me up forward. I just asked if I could have a go at half-back, and I've sort of stayed there. It was never really anything special. It was just I started there and I just stayed there.
Well, you seem to have relished that position.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it actually. Yeah.
Actually, when you think about it, you and Ashley Blurton, two very attacking players on that half-back flank, surrounding Brendan Barrows, it's turned out to be trumps for West Perth.
Yeah, we've all sort of been fairly stable there for at least the second half of the year. Ashley played up forward early, but since he's came back, I think probably the last 10 or 12 weeks we've all played across here. It's been good.
Well, 1975 is a long time ago. You must have been. How old were you then when they won their last flag?
I would have been about 2, I think. But yeah, 20 years is a long time. But I think a lot of people have been waiting for the opportunity to celebrate another flag. So hopefully we can give it to them.
You should have the house behind you at Subiaco Oval on Sunday. It should be right behind West Perth.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think 1993 it seemed like there was only West Perth people there, but I know I'd say we had plenty of support. Yeah, it'd be good.
Well, there you go, Todd Curley, and there's the bondage between the Subiaco reserves players who took out the pennant a short time ago. Will it be a winning double? We'll find out very soon when this grand final gets underway. Well, Gary Buckenara was also at the parade, of course, on Friday with Jason Heatley, the full forward. I asked Gary about the advantage or disadvantage of playing in the preliminary final last weekend.
Well, 5 o'clock on Sunday, we'll know that, I suppose. There are things for having a break and there are things against it. So, you know, I suppose we've kept playing. We've got a bit of a momentum after a win going into a game. Both teams go into the game with a win. So I suppose from that point of view, we're very even, and the games this year, 2 each, very even. So this is a decider.
Well, nothing between them in the second semi-final. How did you rate that game as a standard of quality?
Quality-wise, it was a tremendous game. A lot of pressure, you know, great skills, some tremendous highlights. The games of Subi West Perth this year have been full of that, and those who have missed it have missed out on some real champagne football, and I think we'll see another great game on Sunday.
In the close ones this year, you've been very successful. You won most of them, in fact. You must have been surprised to lose that second semi-final, going on previous performances.
Well, you can't keep winning them all. Now the monkey's off the back. We've lost one, so you know, we don't have to worry about going into a grand final having won all the close ones. So the press don't have to hound us on that point of view. But certainly, I think it'll be a great game, as I've said. And you know, we've hung in there, and the players have wanted to win all year. And you know, now it comes down to the one game where it's very important.
Any particular area you think Subiaco can get a break on West Perth?
No, I think they're very evenly matched all over. The midfield is important in any game of football, and the grand final is important to try and get some midfield ascendancy, and both sides have very good midfield. So the results there will probably go a long way to telling who wins.
All players across that midfield, Subiaco and West Perth, are attacking and they're fast. And I guess that lends itself to good football, doesn't it?
Well, that's why they've been great games of footy. A lot of pace in both sides and players with good skill. And, I think we'll see a tremendous brand of football on Sunday.
And, of course, the other advantage, too, for both teams, Gary, both with a good centre-half forward, both with a good full forward. Really, the ingredients are there for an outstanding grand final.
It is, and, I think a lot of people generally are looking forward to this, and if the sales of the tickets are any indication, we may see 35,000 people.
Would it worry you that it's going to be a West Perth house because of the flavour of the month and the fact that they haven't been a grand final winner for 20 years?
Traditionally, Trev, they've got a lot of support. I used to follow West Perth as a kid, and I know you're a West Perth man, so they've always had great support, West Perth, and their supporters are very fanatical, and they come along with their voice. And
that's good for footy.
Yeah, that's great for footy, and the end result, hopefully if we're getting the right result, the crowd will just be a little bit subdued.
Well, I asked John Dimmer the same question. Coaches get some feelings about the way their players are performing and acting around them in the build-up to the grand final. What is your feeling?
Well, the players are quietly determined, and I think that's a great attitude to go into. They're not confident, not overconfident, just determined to put up a good show, and I think that's the attitude that you want to have.
The main thing I've been trying to do is be consistent, and obviously consistency puts your names up in front of the selectors, so that's what I've been working at.
You think West Perth will pay you any particular attention following that second semi-final performance?
I really don't think so. We've got 5 other guys in our forward line, Andrew Donnelly and Carl Langdon, just to name a few, that they've got a man up, and basically it's going to be a big game and a lot of pressure out there, so I wouldn't think so.
What about playing last weekend? Do you think that's done you good, or would you rather have had a rest last weekend?
Obviously would have rather have a rest, but I think the 1 point loss actually gave us a good kick up the backside, and that it stirred us up a bit, and we're a lot more desperate last week, and certainly will be again this week.
The West Perth Subiaco games have been full of quality. You must be impressed with the standard of those games through the year.
Yeah, West Perth have been a very good side all year, as have we, and we're looking forward to another hard, close and tough game.
Well, these two sides met in 1935 and again in 1973. Only twice they've met in grand finals. West Perth won the one in 1935. Trevor Sprigg was in the crowd. In 1973, well, Subiaco defeated West Perth after West Perth had won all the home and away qualifying matches, but Subiaco came out on top. There's some names there, Ross Smith and Dennis Jones, the coach, captains, and Bill Dempsey, of course. Dennis Blair, you've mentioned already today. Mike Fitzpatrick and Mel Winnan for fairest and best for both sides. There's some great memories of that year.
Well, I had the privilege of walking into the ground today with Mel Winnan, and he's, as always, is reserved and as thoughtful about this game as he was when he was playing, and he's hoping for a good game and a close game, and obviously hoping for a West Perth win. But yes, there were some terrific players there that you just mentioned, and 2 very astute coaches. Ross Smith, of course, came across to complete a university degree, and after a very successful career at St Kilda, including a Brownlow medal, and he made a great impact taking that Subiaco team to the premiership in 1973 after a 49-year drought. So a great performance by him, a great contribution to WA football from Ross Smith.
That little bird you saw a moment ago was a cardinal. Just sitting around on the fence.
You hope.
Trevor, another thing about the 1973 game, Peter Burton and Peter Metropolis both played in that game, both with sons in today's game, Jay Burton and Daniel Metropolis.
Yes, and both players will be very important for their situation as far as their team's concerned. Jay Burton has been a terrific ruckman for Subiaco this year. Maybe tapered off a little bit towards the end of the season. The emergence of Brendan Fuster for West Perth has been a big bonus for them, I believe. And Daniel Metropolis coming back from playing Eagles last week. I know he played in the second semi. I believe he's just a little more important to Subiaco than what, say, Craig Turley coming back is to West Perth. And that might seem strange to say, but Subiaco really lacked those key position backline players.
The other irony, of course, Trevor, is that John Dimmer, who's coaching West Perth today, actually played in the Subiaco Premiership team in 1973. And that's right. And if you want to take it a little bit further, the 2 general managers of the 2 clubs in Steve Woodhouse and Alan White.
Yes, started at the opposite club.
Were in opposite camps at the time, although neither played in that grand final. They were actually on the league lists at that time. So, yeah, there's been a bit of an exchange of personnel along the way that just adds a little bit more intrigue to this particular game.
Well, driving to the ground today, we drove past Leederville Oval. I got the kids to salute as we went past, and they said, "Why do you want us to do that for, Dad?" I said, "You'll find out later." It's a great day. A grand final day is always exciting. We're looking forward to this big game today, but let's hope it's somewhere near the second semi-final. I always believe that in the lead up to a grand final, somewhere along the way, you get a magnificent game of football, AFL or WAFL. We may have seen it in the second semi-final. Let's have a look at some of the highlights. On a lead, bounces up beautifully for him. Ducking and diving outside 50. He pulls it towards the top of the square. Turley. Oh, great mark, Todd Curley.
It was a terrific mark. He's very good overhead.
Donnelly goes looking for Heatley. Good mark over the top. Brunton was in front. Heatley with war height. Burton and Fuster. Burton wins the tap. Lamb, tackled by Malone, loses it to Langdon. Great smother Harris. Kicked the previous goal. Chips it towards Downsborough at half forward. Great pick up on the half volley. Little one around the corner for Groom. It bootlace level, being harassed by Monaghan. Back comes Downsborough. Gives it away. Archie breaks out of a tackle. How did he do that? Then pulls it around his body from 50 metres. Getting back. Oh, with tremendous frustration was Hanson, but he didn't touch it. Barrows from behind. Can't mark. Donnelly was in the pack. Truwell scouting brilliantly. From the defensive side of the square, kicks to centre half forward. Craig Turley. What a mark.
Now he breaks to the other side of the ground, but no one was expecting that. He comes back around Groom, kicks towards the centre half forward position, and Donnelly, oh, that's a strong mark. Again, sends the hand pass infield to Ridley. Ridley gets it to Snow. Snow goes long. Heatley's favoured by this kick. Good kick, good mark. Brunton hasn't got too many options at the moment. Looks towards the centre wing position. McFarlane and Mildenhall. Oh, great mark by Mildenhall. Raked it in with one hand. It looked as though he was going to spill it. Gets it to Downsborough on the half-forward line. Curley is unattended. He didn't get the kindest bounce, but gets around the tackle easily. Back on goal, and the Falcons have another one. Malone went without it. It comes free. Taken by Lamb. Into the pocket, but it lands with Barrows.
He's been terrific, Brendan Barrows. He had a real task today on Donnelly. I think he may have taken the honours. Brendan Barrows. Still deep in defence, though, for West Perth. They lead by a goal. Big pack here. Oh, Metropolis was bungled out of the way. O'Connor kicks it upfield, and Schofield's taken the mark. Here's danger. Schofield from 60. Kick on the way. Langdon's mark. Brunton lost track of it.
It was a missed kick, Trev, in fairness to Brunton. It floated.
Yes, Langdon called for it high. I can see him there. And what do they say about extra time?
Can level the scores. He puts it through. Scores are level.
16 goals, 11 apiece. Burton will oppose Whitelaw at the bounce. It's a perfect bounce. Whitelaw wins it. It's taken by Lamb, but he missed it. He fumbled it. Taken now by Burns. Burns shrugs the tackle. Gets it to Malone. Malone under pressure. Kicks into the pocket. Willett charges at it. It's knocked towards the boundary line. The ball runs out of play on the 50-metre line for West Perth. Well, West Perth have it in attack. That's important.
I think we better find out about the time on rule. So 10 minutes each way, is it?
5 minutes each way.
Boundary throw in. Downsborough's there. It goes down in the direction of Harris, but it beats him across the line.
Now, will Downsborough try something over the back here? It can win you or lose you the game.
Well,
that's what someone should be trying to do, get it into the space in front of the West Perth goal.
Be worth trying from West Perth's point of view. It's knocked towards the goal square. Willett leads the road charge at the ball. It's taken by Malone, and his score will do, and he's kicked a point.
And that point won the second semi-final. He looks on with pride now as the grand final teams are about to emerge. His famous red and blue colours there, and the Subiaco supporters are here, well and truly in number.
Both these teams, Trev, do have the capacity to fight back, don't they? Which is an attribute we don't see a lot in WA footy.
They've showed excellent resilience in all games this year. Well,
let's have a look at the West Perth side. They've left out Archie and brought in Valentine. And where they'll play him, I'm not sure. I don't think he would line up. Perhaps he'll start on the interchange. What do you think there, Trevor?
Yes, Valentine would almost certainly start on the interchange. Some interesting scenarios and rumours going around. Mifka named at fullback there. He went on to Heatley, of course, in the second semi-final. There's stories around that Barrows may start at fullback with Smith at centre halfback today. I really can't see a role for Ryan Smith if he doesn't play in a key backline position. They've got plenty of players that they can play in the ruck, Fuster and Downsbury in particular.
So, a bit of a harker going on.
I was going to say these people with the wrong code.
Yes. That should be in Sydney. Anyway, there's quite a spectacular parade of youth going on the ground at the present time.
The other change to that lineup, I would have thought, Trev, would have been Logan back onto the centre line to replace Valentine. I mean, he's been a pretty reliable performer for West Perth there this year. He's a young player, of course, but he's been very consistent, and I doubt that he would start anywhere but across the centre.
Well, I'm a firm believer that you don't take Ryan Smith away from fullback, that you start him on Heatley, you start Mifka up the ground. I think it might take a lot of the confidence away from Ryan Smith if you didn't start him on Heatley today.
I think that's a very important point you make there, TJ. It's whether he starts at fullback or centre halfback's the important thing. He's ideally equipped to play Andrew Donnelly. Brendan Barrows has had his problems, of course, with Andrew Donnelly. They've had terrific tussles. It was, 50-50 maybe in the second semi-final, although Donnelly did very well against Barrows up at Joondalup in the last game of the season we saw up there.
He did. In fact, he's had the best of him for most of the year when they've played, except for the second semi. I'm just a little bit loath also to take a player away from centre half-back who polled 26 votes in the Sandover medal in that position.
Yes, and ran fourth in that particular award behind Craig Trelevin and also Stephen Bilsich, of course, and Tony Godden. And Tony Godden, interestingly, comes back into the Subiaco side, and there's an interesting onlooker there. State coach John Todd certainly would have liked to have been here today. The Subiaco side there, and they've made a couple of interesting moves. Tony Godden is playing. There's been a lot of doubt about him during the week. Donnelly, of course, named at centre half forward there. But the important thing is that O'Connor has done a good tagging job last week on the Sandover medalist in Craig Trelevin. I think he's going to have a role today, Nathan O'Connor. Now, it may be that he gets the job on Darren Harris, and that would leave, of course, Schofield once again to pick up Craig Tilley when they had a terrific battle in the second semi.
I must say I'm not particularly happy with that Subiaco team. I don't think it's got the pace and the forward type options that they might need. I would like to have seen either O'Brien or Toya or Cox at least starting on the interchange, and I think also in that lineup that you see there, I don't think there's any doubt that Sam McFarlane will start on a wing. He's been one of their better players throughout the final series, and that would of course release O'Connor. But again, Trev, if they choose O'Connor to do the job on Harris, who is the logical West Perth player to be tagged, I don't think he's the right type of player for Nathan O'Connor to tag. Trelevin was custom built for O'Connor.
Yes.
I'm not sure that Darren Harris is.
Well, Darren Harris has got explosive pace, whereas Nathan O'Connor tends to be a plotter, I should say, not in derogatory terms. He keeps going at the same pace all the time. He's a good 800-metre runner, terrific stamina, Nathan O'Connor, but it would obviously be that Gary Buckenara would expect him to do a job, and so maybe he could get Turley this time and Schofield will get the job on Harris, but that would be a situation, I suppose, open slather, go for broke.
Now, Trevor, the other area, and I guess I alluded to it in my comments about the Subiaco the Subiaco forward players. The other problem that I can see for Subiaco is off West Perth's half-back line, where you've got players like Curley, Barrows and Blurton, and if they're manning up on players such as Langdon, then there could be a fair degree of run from the half-back line for the Falcons.
Without a doubt that Gary Buckenara would have been imploring his forward line players to work hard to keep the ball in the middle in their forward line, and there'll be plenty of run-off in that situation, certainly. The Subiaco prepare to come out on the ground. It's going to be a West Perth house for sure, and I think you can tell that already.
Well, tremendous atmosphere here. Probably the best atmosphere we've experienced in a grand final.
They're just booing the batter at the moment.
I think they saw the umpires. I think Darren Starcevich poked his nose out and he got a bit of a boo. Might be West Perth out first. It is. Darren Harris and Paul Mifka lead out the Falcons. And the crowd erupt. Subiaco on the over at the same time. Two great teams in the WAFL this year. They're the best two teams, there's no doubt about that.
And did you see Carl Langdon eyeballing the West Perth players as he ran out?
Andrew McNish playing his 200th senior game today, Trevor. 176 for Subi, 20 for the West Coast Eagles and 3 for Geelong.
Inducted on Wednesday night,
Was he?
Last Wednesday night.
So what an occasion, what a day on which to play your 200th senior game, and there would have to be some chance, I would think, that it might be Andrew McNish's final season at this level.
Only one player for Subiaco has played the whole season and hasn't missed a game. Bill Monaghan, the fullback. And for West Perth, Logan, Barrows and Burns haven't missed a game for the Falcons this year.
Interesting to see, we're looking at West Perth, of course, but interesting to see Tony Godden out there in the Subiaco lineup, number 7. He'll come into picture in a moment. He was ruled out, considered to be unfit during the week by Gary Buckenara, but there he is now, right in the centre of your picture, Tony Godden. He's been suffering from a foot injury, so perhaps a little surprising to see him there, but he was runner-up in the Sandover medal, and the comment from Subiaco was, if Tony Godden ever has a good season, back him in the Sandover medal, because he'd have to win it.
He's a boat catcher, isn't he? He's an eye catcher of a player.
And he could get a role today too, having missed games for the last 2 or 3 weeks. It may be that he's the player that gets the job on Darren Harris.
Brendan Barrows, who polled so well in the Sandover medals, had a great year. Very keyed up, very focused. I noticed after the Sandover medal on Monday night, they were gone within 1 minute of the counting finishing. A very focused lot of players, led by Don Dimmer. Umpires, Cronje, Starcevic and Garrett. Good luck to them today. You couldn't get much better experience than that. And early in this game, I've got no doubts, Trevor, they're going to have their hands full. I can see this game bubbling over with emotion in the first 15 minutes.
There'll be a bit of sorting out to be done for sure, and the umpires traditionally have to give some Tiggy Touchwood free kicks early. But the other thing, the interesting thing, I think, TJ, that you find in these grand finals is that some young player, some unheralded player will start to build his reputation starting in this game. Recall years ago, I think Mark Zanotti, had a magnificent final series for Subiaco in about 1986.
Won the Simpson medal.
Yep, there'll be some unheralded players that come through here, and I know the coaches would be telling their players that it's not the stars that win you the game, it's not the Jason Heatley with 8 or 10 goals, it's the hard workers around the flanks that are going to give you the competitive edge today.
And obviously nerves play a big part too, Trevor. Some of these players will be very keyed up today. He's got plenty of experience and can handle the big occasions, but there's others that will be feeling those butterflies at the moment.
Yes, well, Turley and Lamb, of course, are AFL Premiership players, along with Langdon there.
They're trying to find Langdon's butterflies there, look.
Yes, they are, but it would have been a situation where the coaches would have been playing down the situation, trying to make it just like a normal week.
The State Executive of Australia remembers a special guest here today, Trevor. Most of their activities have finished for the year, and that executive was chaired by Mr. Keith Mattingly, and it was a very successful initiative as far as the federal government was concerned, and well received here in Western Australia, and well supported by the public of Western Australia throughout 1995.
Yes, it certainly has bonded Australians very closely over the last 7 or 8 months. There's no doubt about that. It's been great for the children to see just what happened back at the end of 1945. So everybody's taking their vantage points now in the stands, and isn't it good to see this response from the West Australian public?
Yes, there's over 30,000 in here now, I reckon.
Yep.
Well, we had 32,000 here 2 years ago for the West Perth Claremont Grand Final. As we pause for the 1 minute silence now. There it is, 1 minute silence as Australia remembers 1945 to 1995. And now stand by very shortly. The national anthem, Advance Australia Fair. Magnificent view from up here in our commentary box, high on the members' wing stand.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful
Very emotional rendition of Advanced Australia Fair that sets the scene for this grand final of 1995. As the players now move towards their positions or move around the ground again, we're just waiting for the toss of the coin. That'll be made by Barry Cable, triple Sandover medalist, won the medal in 64, 68 and 73. There he is in the middle, acknowledging the umpires for this game. The youngsters start to leave the ground as well as people find their vantage spots. A lot of red and blue in the crowd, Trev.
Yes, there is. No doubt at all that's a West Perth crowd. And you heard the roar go up when Advanced Australia Fair was finished, and that's going to be inspirational for West Perth today.
Now Darren Harris joins Dwayne Lamb, rival skippers. There's the triple Sandover medalist Barry Cable tossing the coin for the grand final of 1995, won by Darren Harris. West Perth going to the left side as we go down now to John Anea to check out those wind conditions. Is it favour either end, John?
Well, I think it's definitely going down to the hospital end of the ground, Trev. They're expecting winds around about 15 kilometres an hour. That equates to around about 2 goals, I guess, as I mentioned, to the Perth end of the ground. Weather, as you can imagine, it's going to be fine and warm, around about 25 degrees. And really in for a great day. I've got with me Ashley, who'll be helping me out down on the ground. And Ash, your thoughts on today's game?
I think it'll be a great match. I mean, testimony to the way the two teams have played this year, 2 apiece. I think Subiaco probably have that big game edge that maybe West Perth haven't got quite at this point, although losing Tony Godden will probably even them up through the midfield. Be an interesting game, but I'll probably lean towards the Lions.
Good. Look, thanks to me and Trev. I'm tending to go with Ashley, and word has it Caves is sitting next to Mick Moldhouse up in the southern stand here, and he's brought his scrapbooks along to have a little bit of a natter at quarter time.
They can talk about themselves. Thanks, Ashley, Dylan, and to John Anea. Tony Godden, of course. Ash wouldn't have got up with the news yet, but Tony Godden is out there for Subiaco today. There's a nice little mascot. The Joondalup Falcons.
Interesting,
what a boon that
Trevor.
has been, the move to Joondalup for them.
I don't think anyone's gone off the ground yet. I think there are still 21 players out there for both teams. Now, Paul Miller is coming off. Todd Breeman's coming off, and Damien Hampson.
Gavin Bell and Ryan Smith along with Ben Stewart for West Perth.
So they're the interchange.
There's Breeman, Hampson and Miller. And that's a surprise to me, Ryan Smith off the ground. One big man, though, I guess, Trevor, in reserve.
Yes, Mifka going down to pick up Heatley. So,
and it's on between the two. Oh, heavens!
In fact, he's gone straight around, and there'll be a free kick here if he's not careful.
Mifka threw that one. Gee.
Yes, he did. Mifka threw a punch at Heatley, and it's caused this brawl.
I've never seen. Well,
Todd Curley's down. Todd Curley's been punched in the middle of the ground. Someone's hung one on Todd Curley as well, so I guess that evens it up a bit. But Curley, a very vital player for West Perth, is down. And that's a bad start to this game.
Oh, this is disgraceful.
Well, the umpires have got to bounce the ball now.
Very, very ordinary.
And Curley looks a bit bemused there.
They're off again.
And now it's on again. And now Malone's in it.
Langdon and Barrows.
Barrows went at Langdon. Snow and Malone have got hold of one another. And now the trainers are into it. A West Perth trainer and a Subiaco trainer into it. The umpire's sending them away.
Come on, fellas, let's get on with the football here.
And that all started with Mifka on Heatley.
Without a doubt, we just caught it well as we were looking down for the matchup.
And Willett's gone straight down to stand guard.
So,
well, shades of that East Fremantle Perth. Sorry, South Fremantle Perth, wasn't it? Grand final of some years ago when Shields and Griljusic got mixed up on the opening siren.
And Godden's got Turley, so Godden is tagging.
Mildenhall's got McFarlane. And there's the centre bounce. It's underway, this grand final. First tap to Bitton. Chance there for O'Connor. Tried to soccer it. Langdon bundled out of the way. He's got the football. And O'Brien goes straight into him. That should be a free kick. I would have paid a free kick there.
Oh, they've got to, Trevor. Oh, this is just going to get right out of hand.
It's out of hand already, Wal.
I can tell you that Carl Langdon is in the mood to square up.
Centre bounce again. Whitelaw got down towards Malone. He's dispossessed. Now the umpire pays a free kick. Maybe a bit belated, I feel. It's going to Robbie Malone. So West Perth work it out of the middle at last. Harris kicks to half forward. Propping underneath that was Logan. With him was Grumley. Grumley's the first one back. He goes looking for the white line and finds it as Logan bustles him over the boundary in a sensational start to this 1995 grand final.
Boundary thrown is at right half forward for West Perth. Downsborough is there to do the ruck work for the Falcons. Metropolis forced to oppose him. Downsborough with a decisive knock inside 50. Parker comes across, loses control of it. Opportunity here for Turley. He's pulled off it. Parker again shovels the ball out. West Perth applying terrific pressure, and now it's on again. This time between Schofield and Turley, two West Coast Eagles teammates. And the throw will take place at right full forward for the Falcons.
And Schofield was the aggressor there.
What a torrid opening to the 1995 grand final. A lot of unnecessary physical stuff. As Turley goes in and players going on top of him, O'Connor was there for Subiaco, and there'll be a bounce in the same position.
The matchups are as per the second semi, just about O'Brien and also Snow. Malone's gone to the middle of the ground though.
Downsborough wins the tap, brings it back for Logan. Logan gets a hand pass away that was meant for Malone, but it's sharp by Godden. Sandover middle runner up, gives it away to Monaghan, running off Groom. Brilliant hand pass into Snow. He's met solidly by Whitelaw. Barrows misses the mark. Pushed out of the way was McNish. Should have got a free kick. In goes Barrows. Whistle has sounded. It is McNish with the free kick, and rightly so.
And look at Billy Monaghan streaming down the ground to the right full forward pocket.
Well, I don't know about that, Bill Monaghan, but still. It's McNish with the footy, 55 metres out. It's a wobbly kick, it's way offline. Willett got his hands to it, but too late, out of bounds on the full. Free kick to be taken by Brendan Barrows.
Gee, it's still on up here. Brunton was just pushed to the ground, no real damage, but a lot of niggling. Short kick to Truella is a good one. Across the face of Golder Harris, he's prominent early. He's got a player loose on the outer side in Mifka. Paul Mifka on the defensive 50-metre line. Looks back in towards the centre square. Harris running loose, unchecked at the moment. Breaks free with a hand pass towards Curley. Curley has it. Wasn't a lot of support, but he did it cleverly and finds Whitelaw in the centre of the ground. Lamb arriving late. Now O'Brien is loose. Curley has run hard from half-back. Whitelaw goes beyond all that and looks for Groom. Parker up in front, has his hands pulled away and is then pushed in the back, and he'll get the free kick.
That's a good matchup. Shane Parker against the pacey Ronnie Burns.
Subiaco play on out of defence. Metropolis finds Donnelly. Long way down from half forward. Mildenhall knocks the ball out of his hands and a 50-metre penalty will be imposed. And listen to the crowd. Wasn't 50 metres.
25 is okay.
Short kick has found Lamb at half forward. Subiaco moving the ball forward. O'Connor is loose on the flank. He goes more directly. It's ill-directed. Mark to Mifka. Good mark too. Heatley was on the other side of the pack and that wasn't a good kick.
Mifka, handball over the top. Darren O'Brien dummies around Big J Burton and then favours the outer side of the ground. Target is Downsborough. Couldn't quite find him. Metropolis arrives to make a contest and a boundary throw-in out there. Right half forward for West Perth.
And O'Connor has got the tagging job on Turley by the looks of it. Godden, therefore, is the opponent for Harris.
Schofield, I think, Trev.
Burton, Downsborough arrives late. Knocked upfield by O'Connor. West Perth, Ridley and Malone get tangled up there. In goes Valentine. Surprise inclusion in the side, Jeff Valentine. Going in hard out there too was Darren O'Brien. Close to the boundary, O'Connor. Gee, it won't go out. Finally over the white line.
There's been lots of moves in the middle of the ground. Robbie Malone and Dwayne Lamb have played on each other, but Snow and also Darren O'Brien. There's a mix-up in there as well.
No score in this grand final as yet, as that comes down towards Lamb. And he got the free kick. He's away very quickly. Experience there from Dwayne Lamb. The kick to half forward, getting in the path of McNish is Whitelaw to take a courageous mark.
Yes, it was, but he's miskicked. It'll go in the direction of Willett. Willett tackled by Curley. Players go in solidly. Whitelaw on Willett, allowed to play on. And there'll be a bounce about 35, 40 metres out from the West Perth, from the Subiaco goal.
Gee, that was a good decision by umpire Garrett then, because Willett was going to ground, and there you see over the top went Whitelaw, but he was already on the way down. Good decision.
Big leap by Whitelaw, doesn't get his hand on it. Donnelly has it as dispossessed, waiting for the ball. Whereas it was a Subiaco player who was dispossessed,
McNish.
And eventually it's cleared across the face of the ground by Harris, close to the boundary line. It won't go out. Kept in by McFarlane, fends off it to an opponent, gets the hand pass infield to Grumley. Grumley knocks it onto Snow. Snow kicks under pressure from Mildenhall, in towards the pocket, Blurton up and fists it over the line. throwing it right full forward for Subiaco.
Gee, the intensity's terrific already. Why wouldn't it be with the start we've had?
Don't see those starts too often, Trev.
Oh, well, Mifka wanted to upset Heatley without a doubt, and I think he might have done it.
Donnelly from the side, Langdon couldn't quite get his tap to it. Barrows tries to barge through. He's held up by Willett. And the umpire Garrett, will bounce it down again in this right full forward pocket for the Subiaco Lions.
So it's part of the tactics are to try and unsettle Subiaco and have them going to square up.
Whitelaw went up, no clean tap again. Ridley going nowhere. Truella was there. Barrows bundled out. Harris riding the white line. Dangerous hand pass. Malone runs it through. And I think that was a safety way to go. So the first blood in this game, and I use that loosely, has gone to Subiaco.
Literally.
This is the man that was put down early. We didn't see who by, after Mifka had caused an uproar early. And it's a good kick back into play. Crowd want 50 metres or 25, not there. Brunton clears it out of defence. Mifka standing alone, takes a good mark on the half-back flank for West Perth.
Not a good effort by Jay Burton, a much taller player, and that's a beautiful kick. Finds Malone. Malone plays on to Turley. Turley is on the half-forward line, kicks in the direction of Ronnie Burns. Close to the line, good mark. He's 60 metres from goal. West Perth forwards moving now. He goes long towards the goal square. Pressure on the Subiaco defence. Well read off hands by Monaghan. Loses it on the bounce. Logan is closing. He chooses to keep it in play. Subiaco under pressure. Donnelly a long way down from half forward, applying the pressure. Ball spills free. Donnelly over the top of the player. Lamb gets it wide. Still the umpires let it go. Malone pushed off the ball. Chance for Lamb. He breaks through cleverly there and has a run. Not often Dwayne Lamb gets that opportunity. Barrows goes across to meet him. Puts him down after he kicked it. Silly play by Barrows.
Didn't matter.
The mark is taken by Ridley in towards full forward. Heatley in front, spoiled by Mifka. Roving the ball well as Schofield. If he can pick it up, he has now. Tries to shrug the tackle. McFarlane's caught. Pressure's great from West Perth to the top of the square, and Willett. It was a missed kick, but Willett was playing in front.
And you wonder about the matchup there. I noticed Steve Truella is the opponent for Rod Willett, who's a very, very experienced player indeed, having played 2 premierships for Subiaco.
He's lost his boot. He's calling for his boot, which is over on the other side of the ground, and it's his kicking foot. So yes. Willett, there's going to be time on here, which will extend this quarter. Willett waiting for the boot to come back.
There's the ball coming into here. Heatley contested well. Good crumbing there from Schofield. Although he had sat off Harris, his immediate opponent. McFarlane scrambles the ball forward. Willett in front of Truella.
You can put this goal down to Dwayne Lamb, who
yes.
sharked a hand pass in the back pocket that was meant for a West Perth player. And that was a sensational bit of play by Dwayne Lamb to get that ball moving. And they turned it over from defence to attack, and now a chance of a goal here. It should be the first goal of the game.
Willett is lining up from about 25 metres out, about a 40-degree angle. But he's that close that the acuteness of the angle shouldn't worry him.
It's a longer preparation than Farlap had for the 1930 Melbourne Cup.
One of the veterans of this Subiaco team. Subiaco to this point are 1 behind. And he's missed.
No wonder.
It's a shocking miss, and Truella goes straight back to him and lets him know. Well, that's a shocking miss.
Gee, there's plenty of feeling in this game. It could explode at any minute, I reckon.
Now Truella and Willett.
Centre half back. And there's going to be a free kick here, and it's going to Subiaco.
Oh, that's not right.
Well, Truella went in on Willett several times after he had missed.
And I think he was warned as well while the umpire Garrett said something to him. And when you persist with that, it's foolish, and he gets another opportunity.
I think both players from both sides need to just pull their heads in here before they start costing their team. As Willett lines up from directly in front. Very early days in the game, and this decision is not likely to have any bearing on the final result. But Willett's got the goal. And Subiaco moved to 1-2. West Perth are yet to score.
Well, it's at flashpoint, this game of football now, and you can see there Barrows comes in.
Look at that.
Willett
Goodness
certainly
me.
had a swing.
How did you get a free kick out of that?
Well, yes, and I think before that he may have been warned, Truella, because he certainly had a go before that.
Truella opened his mouth, but Willett used the physical pressure.
Yeah.
No, there was a lot before that, Trev.
Yeah, Truella opened his mouth.
No.
It's still
Down
happening
here,
now.
as Trevor Sprigg pointed out, he was grabbing him around the head after he'd missed the shot on goal.
First goal, that's
Oh, well,
right.
if he's done that, then he's paid a penalty.
And Willett then grabbed him later on, certainly. But
You're right, they've got to settle down because they're giving away big advantages to the opposition. Whitelaw got the tap, knocked back into the middle by O'Connor, emerging against Schofield. Good hand pass for Snow, almost run down by Mildenhall. That was good chase and great endeavour then by Donnelly. And that's his hallmark, spectacular marking, and that was great courage.
Yes,
Subiaco, the first one to get a bit of poise into their game here. And this is Ridley. Ridley has marked 45 metres out on a very acute angle. He's on the boundary, in fact. He's had a haircut for the day. Talented player and very dangerous if allowed to roam loose. He kicks from just inside 50. Drop punt on the way. Not a bad kick, but it's across the face. And it just misses the target. So Subiaco on the board. They're 1-3. West Perth yet to score. In fact, they've only had it down there a couple of times into their scoring zone.
Certainly Subiaco seem to have regained their composure the best.
Curley, short pass for Brunton. What a good player he's been in the last half of the season. Dean Brunton favours the half-back flank. Now Valentine and Donnelly. Valentine got a good ride, tried to fist it away. McFarlane harassed by Mildenhall. Harassed out of bounds.
That's another free kick. That's just ridiculous.
Well, he dumped him over the line, and that's his silly football.
Well, West Perth are not focused here.
McFarlane kicks towards full forward. Heatley went up, couldn't take the mark. Perhaps should have held that. Mifka with poise, gets it across to Harris. Harris, a shocking hand pass meant for Malone. Knocked away by Snow. Now a chance for Willett. Dispossessed by Todd Curley. Now a chance again for Snow. With him there is Brunton. Brunton at ground level to Blurton. Now they go across to Harris. And West Perth repel the attack momentarily anyway.
O'Brien loose on right centre wing, and this is the Falcons' best chance for a solid build-up. He goes long down towards full forward, and Groom is outmanoeuvred by Monaghan illegally in the opinion of the umpire, and the free kick will go the way of Groom. Groom will take this shot at goal for the Falcons from about 45 metres out.
Yes, very little in that. Umpire Darren Starcevic in his first grand final giving that decision. Really, what can a player do when he's trying to spoil the ball?
He's only trying to spoil.
Yep.
Groom just checking the mark. He's been a reliable contributor for West Perth throughout the course of the year, Chris Groom. 61 goals. It's a fairly acute angle. He's not far in from the boundary, as you can see. And West Perth kicking with a light breeze in this term. It's a good effort. It's a terrific kick from Groom. First goal to the Falcons. They're 1 goal straight. Subiaco are 1-3.
And the roar of the crowd tells you that certainly it's a West Perth house today, but a good build-up from West Perth on that occasion. This player, Darren O'Brien, sitting ahead of the play and being able to use the ball when he's got space like that. And a fairly frivolous free kick, I felt. They'll level out during the game, I guess.
What a good player he's been for West Perth, the Fremantle Docker. 65 goals, I think, up until now.
Correct.
And a good start. Confidence booster. They needed it. Burton in the middle of the ground. Couldn't get it down to his rover. Chance here for Burns. He's run down from behind. Loses it to Craig Turley. Wobbles the kick to Brendan Logan. His father played in the 1975 grand final. Ian Logan. Now he's kicked it on for Harris. Tackle without it. Got to take the free kick here.
That's 50. Should be.
I think
West
the
Perth
umpire...
supporters there. No, he's not going to pay a penalty. Monaghan was the offending player. So, not a great start here now for Bill Monaghan if Harris puts this through.
Yes, that'll be 2 free kicks against him that'll result in 2 goals. Just a bit overzealous then. Harrison tapped the ball in front of him.
His elbow injuries are popular. Well, we've got players with elbow bandages all over the place, probably to confuse us. Harris from 30. Drop punt is a beauty. So now West Perth is steady. And that initial shock reaction that both teams were going through after that Mifka-Heatley incident, in which Mifka was the instigator, it seems to have settled down, West Perth at 2 straight, Subiaco 1-3.
Brendan Logan booting the ball forward here, and there's clearly a free kick. As you saw, Darren Harris tap the ball ahead, and he's worked very hard once again, the skipper. He's always prominent early in the game. He knows when games and victories are set up, and the little fella from Wodonga is working extremely hard for his team.
The Falcons by 3 points, and the interesting thing, Trevor, is I'm not sure that he is being tagged. I can't work out who's on him.
It's open slather with Schofield.
Blurton gets it to Curley. Curley kicks down towards half forward, but the kick isn't a good one, and the mark is taken by Parker standing behind Burns. Plays on and spears the ball onto the half forward line. Wasn't a good kick. Lamb was unattended out there, and it carried the target and went out of play at left half forward. Subiaco have the ball forward at the moment. They're 1-3. West Perth at 2 goals straight.
I don't think Lambie would have been impressed with that, Wal.
No, it wasn't a good kick. He was well and truly unattended. As Langdon uses his body well, picked up by Blurton. Now Barrows. Barrows is cornered. Kick is partly smothered by Willett. Comes to Ridley. Needed 2 chances to pick it up. You haven't got time in a grand final. McNish did that well and has then run down and will get the free kick.
Yes, Brendan Barrows there. That was foolish because you can't jump on a player on the way down. And there it was, just carrying him forward. A bit of overzealousness by both teams, really, in the tackling area.
Deep in attack, too. It's
expensive mistakes, aren't they?
Unusual, yes. Players are usually a little more circumspect with their tackling in those deep attacking zones. But we've just seen Subiaco give away 2 goals through free kicks. West Perth conceded one earlier. McNish runs around, plays on, hooks on goal and has missed. He's put it across the face of the goal. And he is one of their regular and reliable goal kickers, and they need him contributing today. In fact, one of their major problems in the second semi-final when they lost by a point was that they only had, I think, 5 goal scorers in total. Heatley, of course, kicked 10, but Donnelly with 2 was the only other multiple goal scorer, and that's a penetrating kick in. Donnelly up, Heatley, Snow it was, I'm sorry, hurriedly back towards full forward, and Langdon takes a very good mark. Gee, that was strong and well judged by Carl Langdon. Camped in the middle of a pack. That could almost have been an additional penalty too, couldn't it?
Yes, Truella was very keen there as Ryan Smith's coming on the ground and Whitelaw off for West Perth.
There's nothing to do with the mark. The fact that Langdon was thrown down, there's his shot on goal. And Subiaco are back in front. They're 2-4, West Perth are 2 straight.
Well, already a couple of lead changes in this game. We expected it would go down to the wire, and both sides have settled down now. There's plenty of physical presence out there and physical pressure as Todd Curley kicks the ball straight up the middle of the ground. But a quick kick from David Snow has been very busy for Subiaco, marked by Carl Langdon.
And this crowd, which is, in my opinion now, in excess of 35,000, absolutely enthralled with this game of football so far. We're only 18.5 minutes in.
Fuster's come onto the ruck and Ryan Smith to the forward pocket.
So Fuster up against Burton. Might have just won that tap. Harris made it a certainty, knocked it forward. Shark by Willett, who found a space. Long kick to half forward, bad bounce. Barrows was there, but it was obviously going to bounce away from him. Truella, Todd Curley, little kick around the corner, and Ashley Burton's there on his own. He's got time to poise and settle and then kick upfield. Truella misses what he should have taken. He's got time to recover. Goes back to Blurton on the crest, right centre wing. Kicks into the pocket and Downsborough got away then from Metropolis. He's marked 50 out, acute angle, only about 10 metres in from the boundary. 2-4 Subiaco, 2 straight West Perth. Wherever you are in WA, hope you're enjoying this so far. Downsborough, drop punt on the way, won't reach. Monaghan and Groom carries both of them and bounces over the white line. Boundary throw in, left full forward pocket. There's Brendan Logan, who set up West Perth's second goal. This will be Groom and Monaghan, and from the back Willett, big thump back to the white line. So 16 plays 12, Subiaco in front. Almost 20 minutes gone in the first term.
Interesting situation with Subiaco. Rod Willett is actually playing as a rover at the moment because Jared Schofield's gone to the forward pocket.
Boundary throw in at left full forward for the Falcons. Monaghan knocks it back, but it comes straight to Harris. Harris goes back on goal. He's pulled it too much. In fact, it might not score. That might be a goal. It hit the post. Gee, that bounced in play. It looked as though it had carried the line, but it actually fell just short of the line. And with 2 players wrestling back there, it eluded both and hit the post.
Bob Massey would have been proud.
Darren Harris is having a big effect on this game as Monaghan brings it in quickly, looking for McFarlane. Kick didn't carry to him, but he picks it up ahead of Mildenhall, is pushed as he kicks it, and the ball just bounces out of play, fortunately for Sam McFarlane and Subiaco. The throw-in will take place between right centre wing and right half forward for West Perth. In fact, it's almost down on their half forward line. Subiaco lead by 3 points. Fuster getting mixed up with Burton. Turley is in there. He wasn't able to take it away. O'Connor off the side of the boot. In fact, it's gone back over his head. Downsborough trying to keep it in. He can't. And there'll be another throw in a similar position, about 60 metres around from West Perth's goal. So, a firework opening to this grand final as Downsborough knocks it towards goal. Parker went back. Room was tapped. Chance here for Burns of Perth at the post. Burns wouldn't miss any of them in the course of them.
He kicked through the ball.
That situation would grab it. I don't know why they do that. Bad miss, Burns.
This shape of this ball, I mean, if it was a ball, it'd be different, wouldn't it? But
we wouldn't be here, well.
This ball could bounce anywhere on the...
We'd be at Bayswater.
Kick in by Monaghan, goes to the outer side of the ground. Ridley gives chase. Will he get to it? Yes, he does. Flicks it back into play to Willett. Willett over the ball, confronted by Burton, and together they fought out. Will be a throw in at half forward for Perth.
You talk of players that haven't seen footy. Trevor Valentine hasn't seen, has he, to be out here today?
Surprising they brought in as leaving Archie out as a goal kicker for them.
Downs break it down. Craig to hand pass. Malone under pressure from Ridley. Emerging out of the pen was Valentine. Burton kicks Mother God, and that was a good effort. Willett knocks it away. Harris is there though. Harris hand passed it in front of his body, then tackled by Willett. So he's got kick on that's the wing. Harris. Big kick man. Downs were in front. Knocked away by the Subiaco defence. Malone beaten by Snow. On ground level, he goes towards inboard. Grumbley misses what he should have taken. He apart O'Brien, but West Perth couldn't come through. Allowed Grumley and Lamb to come back and tie the ball up with Logan.
Gee, that was a bad mistake by Chris Grumley. He just took his eyes off the ball.
Bit of pressure out there at the moment. Bounce pointed the square. Attacking side for West Perth. Good knock by Downsborough. Shark by McFarlane. Hooked around his body. Lamb, bad bounce for him. O'Brien was there. I think he was being held. He was. And it's one of those split-second decisions by the umpire. Big ride, Craig Turley. Couldn't hold the mark. Brought the pack down. Now he uses his body on McFarlane and goes back to Todd Turley. That was put in by Craig Turley, and Todd Turley finishes it off with a goal. Oh, that's inspirational by both those players.
What a tremendous second effort from Craig Turley. We'll see him go for the mark here, and he comes down. But Todd Curley there running back to his position. Here it is. There he is, and he's the first one to recover. Look at this. Bounces up. McFarlane had a break on him, but look at him tap the ball through. That's just terrific football. And Todd Curley, ever the opportunist, ready to receive that and finish off well.
Terrific goal to West Perth. Curley and Turley combining.
Our mates.
Exactly. Burton goes up against Fuster. The umpire has let it go. I thought he had blown his whistle. Leading back in the race for the ball here is Willett. He wrong foots Groom. He's got plenty of time now as he looks up towards half forward. Lamb may well take that, but I'm not sure it was intended for him. We'll give Rod Willett the benefit of the doubt. He plays on and goes to half forward, and Schofield takes the mark low down. Dummied the hand pass, now kicks in towards the pocket. Ridley is the target. Blurton is with him. He used his body well on him. Overrunning the ball was Mifka. Blurton has it, decides to go across the face of goal. Gee, ran a long way, but uses the ball beautifully. And he's found Brunton in the back pocket. Brunton at right full back. Kicks the ball over the man on the mark, McNish. It's intended for Barrows. Burton lost his footing at the crucial moment and gives Barrows the chance, but he's forced to put it out when he lost his footing. Well, that was a bad mistake out there by Big J Burton.
Yes, he really hasn't had an influence either. He's been lumbering around the place and not putting himself in the game. Too concerned about zoning up. He's got to get the football.
I wonder if that knee's causing him a bit of a problem, Trev.
I think psychologically at least.
Throw in between left centre wing and left half forward for Subiaco. Opportunity for Grumley to send them forward. Not a good kick. Barrows reads it best. Little too clever, trying to knock it towards Turley, who keeps it in, soccers it back towards centre wing. Burton knocks it intelligently. Lamb has it, back through the tackles, kicks now towards the 50-metre line. McNish used his body well. It's Heatley Shepherds to allow McNish to soccer, but the soccered kick is well offline, and there'll be a throw in at left full forward for Subiaco.
I think Carl Langdon trying to take Todd Curley right back now after Curley kicked that goal. I saw the runner straight out to Langdon.
Both captains are playing inspirational games here. Dwayne Lamb and Darren Harris. They're leading by example. Willett, clean possession. Brought down in a strong tackle. Malone dispossessed. Langdon had it and lost it. Schofield's there, so is Truella. And that's a bounce about 20 metres out from the Subi goal. You must be impressed with Lamb and Harris, Trev.
Yes, they're both going particularly well for their respective sides. And as you said, leading by example, TJ.
Langdon contests the ruck knock over the top of him. Fuster round the neck there to West Perth's Turley. Todd Curley, and away he goes. That was lack of discipline there from Subiaco. He made about 30 metres. The kick carries Burns and Parker. Now the race is on. Burns stops. Parker tried to bundle him out of the way. Play on, says the umpire. Through comes Harris. Gets a hand pass away. Again, it's Todd Curley from the centre square, and Groom in front holds the mark. Langdon's off, and Breeman's about to come on off screen. Well, West Perth moved that up there very quickly, and very lax checking on the mark there. Trevor back in defence.
Yes, and I'm sure that's that Langdon's paid the penalty for that.
No, I think he brought himself off, Trev. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, he did look a bit sore, didn't he, as he went towards the line.
Took a while to get up.
Well, Groom kicked a goal from here, the West Perth's first goal. He's on a more acute angle. Now from 55, that drop punt sails goalward, comes back and goes through. He's got two now, Chris Groom, and they've both been magnificent goals from outside 50.
Well, the first two goals for West Perth came from free kicks from hard-working players, Groom and Harris. But in the last two goals have been from good work, and Harris is involved again. He might have thrown that to Todd Curley, who's sitting down there with no opponent at the moment. That was the instant when Carl Langdon was going off the ground. And Billy Monaghan being led in the race to the ball there.
Well, Willett is coming back into the forward line now for Subiaco. Breeman is on the half-forward line with Langdon off the ground. It's not the fastest forward line as Burton goes up, but it's taken by Logan, who went down. That should have been a free kick out on the wing. West Perth regain the ball. O'Brien chips it in towards half-forward. Logan, wrong foot's Metropolis. He's 50 metres from goal. It's carrying the kick, and it just eludes the player down there in Smith. It was an interesting kick. I didn't think it was going to make the distance, but it in fact would have if it had gone straight. Just kept floating. But Smith, the ball came off his fingertips and hit the post. And so there'll be a throw in at left full forward for West Perth. It's Groom doing the ruck work. In fact, it was O'Connor for Subiaco who got his hands on the ball. O'Connor goes to ground again. Had the ball held to him in the opinion of the umpire.
Brendan Logan changing Rover with Darren Harris, now having a run on the ball. There he is, number 14.
The umpire choosing to throw it up. Downsborough with a superior height advantage kicks at goal. Metropolis is playing on Downsborough and is being forced to oppose him at these bounce downs and throw-ins in the full forward area. And there's Carl Langdon. Just trying to see what, if
stomach
anything,
muscle area.
He was getting some treatment to his stomach before the game. I wonder if he's got a problem there with the full stomach muscles.
So the kick in this time is taken by Stewart.
Beauty. It
is a good kick, and it's all West Perth. Fuster misses what he should have taken. O'Connor was run down by Mildenhall. Neither of those two players has been particularly damaging so far in this game, and we're now 30 minutes into the first quarter. 4-3 to 2-4. West Perth lead by 11 points. Taken by Lamb. His kick was smothered, but Schofield runs onto it. Chance here for a late goal for Subiaco. The kick to Donnelly is a good one. He plays on ahead of Barrows. Missed kicks, and it's Mifka, but he couldn't mark it. Almost a chance for Heatley. Comes back to Mifka. Gets it wide to Curley. Curley goes wider still in the direction of Blurton and Malone. Now they've got a player loose in Logan on centre wing. The kick finds Logan. Can West Perth mount a late attack? Now the options have been cut off. Logan from halfback, kicks towards centre wing. Burton was in front, but Fuster tried harder. This is Willett. It's Godden, I'm sorry. He kicks back to half forward, but missed kicks. And the mark is taken by Curley.
Todd Curley, been a good player in this first term. That wasn't a good kick. McFarlane sockers it into the pocket. Ball rolling towards the boundary. Out comes Mifka and makes a contest on the white line. That was good desperation.
He's been terrific, Mifka. He's been prepared to leave Heatley and go and put a number there. And that's well done.
Tackling has been sensational from both sides. Fierce tackling. Donnelly does the ruck work. Gets it down to Bremen. Snap from right full forward. Oh, that's a beauty. He's only just come on the ground, Todd Bremen. We know his expertise as a goal kicker and a powerful kick, but that was a great snap.
Yes, but more of a snap situation. Here's a problem for West Perth. Brunton, is it coming off?
Gee, what a goal.
Terrific kick there from Todd Bremen, you saw, on the run. But a problem here.
Yes, he's been a very good player, as we've mentioned quite a few times.
McNish is a hard player to man up on. Bell's going to go back and do that job.
He's got a thigh strain, Brunton.
So the ball back in the centre. It was Burton who won it down. Turley was about to break away with it, but the siren sounds. And so ends a dramatic first quarter. In the 1995 Grand Final, it was on for young and old before the ball had been bounced. And at quarter time, West Perth lead by 5 points. It's 4-3 to Subiaco's 3-4.
Paul Mifka, he's kept Jason Heatley goalless in the first term. But Willett, Langdon and Bremen have been able to put majors through. Bremen's goal a beauty. And the Groom has kicked 2 magnificent goals from outside 50, supported by Harris and Curley. Trevor, a fiery opening, and I think an opening we haven't seen for a long time in AFL or WAFL footy.
Oh, it just shows you that the passion is alive and well in football in Western Australia. Paul Mifka no doubt decided that he was going to let Jason Heatley know he's around the place, moving into position for the start of the game. And a bit of a round arm to the back of the neck just made Heatley aware that his opponent was there, and from then on it was on for young and old. And really it was West Perth who settled down best and showed the most composure. Darren Harris led them superbly. Plenty of ball coming from the middle of the ground. Marty Whitelaw did good work in the ruck while he was on the ground. He interchanged with Brendan Fuster during the quarter. Paul Mifka's in superb form across at full-back and has been prepared to run out and leave Jason Heatley and attack the ball. And Chris Groom with 2 goals has been a good focal point for the Falcons. Gary Buckenara there talking to his Subiaco team. Their players not as easy to find. They're good players. David Snow has been quite prominent for them. Sam McFarlane's on top on his centre wing against Neil Mildenhall. Jared Schofield is doing well for them. There's Brendan Barrows. Look at the sweat dripping off that player. It's 26, 27 degrees.
I think what you made earlier, the point you made, Trevor, about physical fitness and those players that can run out this game, that is going to play such a vital part in the result.
Yes, it is indeed. And Gary Buckenara there. The lack of pace of some of his players. Dwayne Lamb has been a good player for them. This is Darren O'Brien booting the ball forward for West Perth. And look at that attempt at a mark. And this epitomises the passion in this game. The second effort of Craig Turley here. The little along the ground hand pass. Todd Curley finds himself in the clear. Sets it up to the right-hand goal post and brings it back beautifully.
The 2 players, obviously, that felt the brunt of that initial onslaught. Heatley, and there's that goal from Bremen, which was just magnificent. One of the goals of the year. Heatley and Todd Curley, they picked their mark, didn't they? The 2 players they've taken on.
Yes, they did, and I'm not sure that one number 24 for Subiaco mightn't have been involved in the Todd Curley incident. He's off the ground, Carl Langdon, at the moment with probably a stomach muscle injury. There's Jared Schofield with his back to us with the towel around his neck, just trying to keep that heat back from that situation.
Interesting stat here on the handballs, Trevor. West Perth been able to use the ball by hand a lot more than Subiaco in that first term.
And interesting situation. I think Ashley Blurton's been one of the players that set up some of those handballs for West Perth. We talked about his good hands before, and in fact their possessions are 21 more. West Perth have had a lot of the play for just a 5-point lead. The hitouts are pretty even. I was a little disappointed with Jay Burton. Didn't think he was getting enough of the ball for Subiaco, but he started to come back towards the latter part of that quarter.
And your best players?
For West Perth, Harris, Whitelaw, Mifka and Groom, and Todd Curley you'd have to throw in there as well. And for Subiaco, Snow, McFarlane, Schofield and Dwayne Lamb has also been very good for them.
Gary Buckenara, quiet and unassuming, as is his rival coach John Dimmer. Mates, of course, playing mates and mates off the field, John Dimmer and Gary Buckenara. And here they are, rival coaches, in a fierce physical opening to this grand final, which was always going to be at boiling point. And how it will unfold will certainly be in the lap of the gods. Well, John Anea and Ashley Dillon have both been listening to the respective coaches. Let's go down to them now. John?
Thanks, Trev. Well, I went over to the West Perth huddle, and again, John Dimmer, like Buckenara, they're very hard to sort of pick up what they're saying, but basically he spent a lot of time speaking to Gavin Bell, who'll be taking over Brunton's role. He appears to have damaged his thigh, and I'm not sure whether he'll come back out in the ground. Secondly, John Dimmer paid quite a long tribute to Turley with the second effort that he'd done on a number of occasions in that first quarter. And really the main thing he stressed to his players was when they got possession was just go for it, and really try and emphasise the need just to run off their man and to create that attacking moves. Actually, how did things over at Subi?
He once again very quiet, very hard to hear, Gary. He's exceptionally quiet, especially with the crowd as it is today. He was happy with that quarter. He feels the half forwards, he wants more second and third goes as far as keeping it inside that 50-metre arc. He wants them to go long with the breeze in this term, pick up the pace a little. Thanks, guys.
Ashley and John, our boundary riders. Mifka goes back to Stan Heatley. Harris 12 possessions, Curley 8 and Lamb 7 in that first quarter.
Yes, Harris was a dominant player. And like Trevor Sprigg, I'm just a little bit concerned about the pace or lack of it in the Subiaco forward line as we start the second term in this grand final. And it's West Perth leading by 5 points. Subiaco kicking with a light southwesterly breeze in this term as West Perth get it forward through O'Brien, taken by Grumley. His kick was smothered. Chance here for the Falcons. It was Burns who gets it to Logan. Logan looks towards full forward and Smith. Great kick and a good mark. Bad mistake by Grumley coming out of defence. Now Smith will shoot from about 45 metres out. He's on a 45-degree angle. And a quick goal to start this second term would be a real lifter for the Falcons. They struck back strongly after Subiaco did the initial scoring in this game. And that's a very good kick from Ryan Smith. He's got it. West Perth have got their fifth. It's 5-3 to 3-4.
Well, no doubt West Perth are using the height advantage to try and exploit Subiaco's lack of height. This is Grumley who took the marker, then played on, had his kick smothered. He's made a couple of mistakes, Chris Grumley. Good hands there from Ronnie Burns to Brendan Logan, and Ryan Smith on the lead in the role that Brendan Fuster started, and doing it well there for the Falcons. And I think Grumley maybe will have to come off the ground, and Paul Miller will take his place.
Ryan Smith, disappointing second semi-final, but so far today doing all right at the other end of the ground in the forward zone. Burton got it down to Bremen. He hooks it upfield, but Tarkin nicely there by Mildenhall, coming over his head, gives it away to Barrows. Barrows kicks out very wide. Lamb in good position. Oh, brilliant desperation then by O'Brien. Knocked it almost out of his grasp, and it caused the boundary throw in.
There it is there. Terrific work. It was a no-risk mark for Dwayne Lamb until Darren O'Brien came on the scene.
Jay Burton, Brendan Fuster. Fuster brings the tap down towards Snow. Schofield going nowhere. Ran into a brick wall, in fact. Ball being held to him, obviously.
And Jeff Valentine's now got the job in the back pocket on Andrew McNish, with Gavin Bell playing on the centre wing against Tony Godden.
Godden, not a great deal of influence on the game so far. Late inclusion by Subiaco. McFarlane dispossessed. Ran into trouble there on centre wing when trying to break away. And again, good physical pressure applied by Bell. Pretty hard to get out of there, Trevor.
Plenty of people around, plenty of traffic.
Fuster and Burton both go to the ground. Again, West Perth's Bell trying to emerge. Malone. It's a 20-metre kick upfield. Downsborough in front of Metropolis. They both overrun it. Picked up by Grumley just inside the white line. The kick to centre wing. Fuster behind Burton. Now it's Mildenhall who breaks the tackle. Again. And he was held when he hand passed in front of his body. Now he's got the free kick for West Perth. Squares it up. This is Fuster. Or O'Brien it is. O'Brien in the centre square. Chips into the pocket for Burns. Is he pushed? No. Play on the court. Good desperation by Parker. Gets it out to O'Connor. He gets away from Burns. Back to Parker. Subiaco under pressure here. Parker going the wrong way. O'Connor. He goes defensively to Stewart. And now Subiaco kick to half back. Schofield's got the sit on Craig Turley, and he's got the mark. Well
touch
done.
ball, not paid.
Nope.
Call to play on. I'm not sure who touched it.
Unlucky.
Schofield dummies around Harris. Schofield from centre half back towards the centre of the ground. Ridley could have been interfered with. Play allowed to go on. Snow was, and Snow will get the free kick, and that should be a relayed kick. Has
yes,
to be.
It is. It's happened a little bit, and you're right, well, the umpires have to jump on that. Umpire Sam Cronje giving the decision there, or is it Darren Starcevic?
And this will put David Snow within scoring distance now. Blurton played on. There's not much doubt that the kick had been paid and that it wasn't going to West Perth. So now Snow has the chance to pull that goal back that Ryan Smith kicked in the opening minute of this second term. And these are opportunities that Subiaco need to convert, but he's missed. Valentine comes off and Brunton goes back on with that left thigh heavily strapped. So Subiaco wasting opportunities. 3-5 to 5-3, West Perth lead. Waiting on Curley to bring the ball into play, goes short and just finds Truella. Willett was closing. Truella plays on wide with the hand pass into the pocket and Mifka. Mifka to Mildenhall, and West Perth bring it out quite comfortably. He's at half back, he goes up towards centre wing. Downsborough is the target, Metropolis gives the contest. Malone has it, he's caught, gets a kick of sorts away. In goes Downsborough, back comes Malone. Still cornered, now he looks for some support and finds Logan. Logan is just ahead of the centre line. West Perth using the ball with considerable composure. Harris has it, kicks inside 50 metres. Burton comes across the front of the pack. Off hands it comes to Fuster. He gets rid of an opponent in Burton and gives it to Downsborough, who's kicked. No, he's missed. Well, perhaps that was an opportunity that should have been converted too by West Perth.
Good crumb reading by Brendan Fuster, but West Perth getting on top across the middle. Mildenhall fought back very well against McFarlane, and Logan is a valuable player for them up on the forward line.
So the veteran Billy Monahan goes down the middle with not a good kick, landed straight with Mildenhall. He's still in the centre square, chips it out in front of O'Brien. There's some work to do here. He gets around Metropolis, or does he? No, good tackle, Metropolis. In goes Downsborough. The ball squirts out. Burns is there. With him is Parker, and Parker beats him again. Parker's playing good in defence here. This is Grumley, tried to do too much. He's lost it. Bell, Harris, run down there by McFarlane. Chance now for Malone. Malone gives it away to Bell. He finds some space from 50. Drop punt on the way. Touch through. Well done, Stewart.
Gee, if Chris Grumley doesn't get dragged now, there's something wrong. Gary Buckenara, I think he's nearly given 3 goals away. Good work there from Hamish Stewart, though, getting his fist to that ball.
And good camera work right on the boundary there, as Stewart brings it in intelligently this time to find Nathan O'Connor, a star of the second semi-final, by the preliminary final, when he cut Craig Treleaven out of the game. Now Ridley's mark, Members wing, kicks to centre half forward. Donnelly will be the target. He wasn't in position. Breman knocks it away. Another chance for Breman. Gets a hand pass to Donnelly, got away from Barrows. Donnelly off one step. It's just offline, G. Subiaco.
Well, he really rushed that kick when he had no need to, and it just indicates maybe there wasn't enough talking to Andrew Donnelly on that occasion. He had plenty of time to steady and really should have finished off that with a goal.
Opportunities wasted at both ends of the ground.
Todd Curley brings the ball in and finds Malone. Snow gets there, spoils the mark, did enough to spoil the mark, but overran the play. Barrows is there to lend support. Brunton back to Malone. West Perth setting it up well. O'Brien has it. Straight through the centre he goes in the direction of Turley, and O'Connor chips in front. Nathan O'Connor starting to get a few possessions. He's found Jay Burton. They didn't gain a lot with that kick. He goes long now. McNish is the target. Brunton his opponent. Used his body well, but the ball didn't fall the way McNish would have liked it. And Blurton comes through to take the ball over the line for West Perth. 11 points is the margin as Grumley goes off and Hampson comes on for Subiaco. Fuster is up. Chance for Schofield. Harris on the bottom did well. Socket forward by McNish. Lands with Willett. He breaks the tackle. 30 metres out. Willett has kicked the goal. That's his second. And Subiaco needed that one. West Perth had edged to an 11-point lead. And had they got the next one, the first suspicion of a break in this game would have been apparent.
Yes, and a good body strength here from Rod Willett. Look, he just had the strength to break away from that tackle of Steve Truella and was able to finish off well. Rod Willett has certainly been a live wire in the forward line for Subiaco, but the lack of pace, the lack of leg speed of Subiaco is still a problem for them, I believe.
And not many break the tackles of Truella. It was a good effort by Rod Willett. That bounce favoured Burton. Down to Willett. He kicked that last goal. Now he's doing too much. Was that holding the ball? Yes. He bounced it in the tackle. So a little bit over-ambitious then, Rod Willett. Burns kicks into the pocket. At the back, Smith. Good mark. Has he played it?
Yes.
Yep. There's no risk. He brought the ball all the way down, Ryan Smith, from about 3 deep there.
Well,
Look at this.
Trying to get a hot dog. That's not a good spot to be. Fourth way back in the queue. Told you he played him at the wrong end of the ground, Trev.
Yes, it was surprising.
Now he shoots from 40. Drop punt on the way. He's pushed it across the face. So both teams are squandering opportunities here. Subiaco have just brought up a goal a moment ago off Willett's boot. And now it's one straight kick the difference. And one can't imagine these two teams ever being much further apart than that, really. Monahan with the job of bringing it back into play. He's looking for Dwayne Lamb, the skipper. Milton Hall across his path. Did pretty well then. Godden has it socked away by Fuster. It's rolling towards the pocket. McFarlane and Fuster, David and Goliath. Now Godden caught. Made no attempt to get rid of it. Now picked up by McFarlane off 50. Kicks back into the middle of the ground. Down comes Todd Curley. With him is Breeman. Malone in front of them. Gets it away towards Harris. Harris runs to 50. Draws a player. Gives it to Downsborough. From 30 metres, he drills it. West Perth a 6-6. Subiaco a 4-6. It's now 2 goals the difference.
And once again, the little rover, the captain, Darren Harris, involved. Just a terrific passage of play there and great presence of mind. He got the ball here from Malone, but he waited till the very last second to give the hand pass, because that gave Ian Downsborough the space he needed to steady and finish off there. And just a terrific passage of play from West Perth. They really look good when Darren Harris is on the ball.
Well-constructed goal by the Falcons. They sneak out to a 12-point lead. 6-6 to 4-6. Next goal is fairly important. It's been low-scoring so far. Fuster gets it down to O'Brien. And to West Perth get the ball to half forward again. Hampson comes across the ground. Soccers it towards the boundary line. Shepherd is provided by Monahan, but Hampson can't pick it up. Not sure that he was trying too hard, but he could have afforded to have picked that up. Logan with Hampson. Throw-in is at right half forward for West Perth. West Perth looking very menacing at the moment. Willett over the top. Godden to Lamb. Hurriedly towards centre wing. Burton takes the mark. Playing in front of Fuster. Godden standing just off him. That's ignored. He goes to half forward. Breeman provided the lead. Now Willett is cruising. Breeman goes the other way. Deep into the pocket. Too deep. And it beats McNish out of play. It was very indirect. Todd
Breeman trying to kick the ball across his body off the back foot there. And you can't find your mark when that happens.
Throw-in is just outside Subiaco's 50-metre line. Donnelly up. This is Schofield. Forced a hand pass to Bell. Malone went without it. Almost threw it away. And we're going to have a bounce between left centre wing and left half forward for Subiaco.
Craig Turley. Inspirational bit of play in the first term. He sent Todd Curley into a virtual open goal. This is across the half-forward line. Todd Curley had it and missed it. Harris had his strides and almost lost him. Now it's Malone. Gets around Godden. A good football, Robbie Malone. Downsborough in front. Fisted away by Metropolis. Across their path, Logan close to the boundary. Did he keep it in? I don't think he did. He got a high tackle.
That was after the boundary umpire signal was out too.
I agree with you, Trev. Logan. Smith in front. Holds the mark. He's a bit too good for Stewart at the moment. And he's causing Subiaco a big problem down there.
Well, it's the height factor that we spoke about, TJ, isn't it? It's a master stroke by John Dimmer.
Smith, Groom and Downsborough giving them plenty of options. Acute angle. Drop punt on the way is straight. He's kicked 2 goals for the game. And Ryan Smith causing a headache for Gary Buckenara as the margin slips out to 3 goals. at the 13.5-minute mark of this second term.
Well, how the fortunes changed. Ryan Smith playing against Jason Heatley in the second semi-final had 6 goals kicked on him in 2 quarters. And here he is now, a forward-line option for the Falcons. But really where it's happening, West Perth are on top in the middle of the ground now. O'Brien, Malone, Turley, and also Mildenhall all doing good work there. Weight of opportunities is putting them in front at the moment.
Listen to that crowd, well.
Burton and Whitelaw. Burton does best. Curley was pretty committed. Mildenhall in the direction of Curley. Curley appeared to be pushed. Play allowed to go. Godden, rare touch to Bremen. Bremen, a telling kick, and McNish will mark in the goal square and kicks a quick reply. Well, Todd Bremen hasn't had too many touches since coming on to replace Langdon, but what he's done has been very constructive.
Yes, he's kicked a goal and he's been responsible for that one as Andrew McNish goes right up the ground. And this is just a classic case of knowing how far Todd Bremen can kick, because in the corner of the pitch you can see Andrew McNish backing away. And Brunton wasn't aware of the length of Bremen's kick, but Andrew McNish, his teammate for many years, was, and well read from the opportunist forward pocket player.
Yeah, there's a change being made for Subiaco. Willett is going back to full back, and Stewart is coming out to the half-back line, I think.
Yes, Buckenara realising that problem with Smith, Ryan Smith. Truella bundled out of the way by Schofield, but picked up by Harris. Hand pass was meant for Blurton. Sharp by Schofield. Blurton with pace. Schofield brilliantly down on the boundary. Now he cuts inboard, and good pass to McNish. And as Craig Turley was inspirational in that second term, that was just as inspirational by Schofield. That was a talented footballer, underutilised by the Eagles. McNish from 50, dropped punt, he's hooked it badly. And I don't think he scored, no. Langdon back on. And Jay Burton's off the ground. Up goes Whitelaw, juggles the mark, couldn't hold it. Punched away from O'Connor. Overrunning it was Craig Turley. Back comes O'Connor, dispossessed. Now he pushes it inboard, that was well done. Stewart to Bremen. Bremen looks for McNish or Heatley, too far for them, and taken by Blurton.
Blurton breaks to the outer side of the ground. Perhaps Bremen could have gone for home that time. Kicks beautifully onto centre wing and finds Whitelaw. Langdon dropping into the gap, but he's in too much of a gap. Burns misses what he should have taken. Parker picks it up and takes him on. Gives the hand pass across to a teammate who chips the ball into the centre but misses the target. Gives West Perth a chance. Harris went without it. Snow comes in and ties it up. So a couple of errors there by both teams, and as a result, we'll have a bounce down in the centre square.
Gee, difficult situation for Gary Buckenara. He's put Willett, who's kicked 2 goals, back to the back line now. Stewart is rucking, and Langdon's come back onto the forward line.
Stewart up against Whitelaw, and he's beaten easily. Parker leaves Burns. He's playing very well at half-back and finds Godden. Godden at right half-forward. Looks to fall forward, and Heatley. Heatley couldn't pick it up. In fact, left it for Mifka. Mildenhall took his eyes off it, and he's claimed that's almost holding the ball. Oh, he pulled it back.
He's lucky.
He's got away with it. There'll be a bounce 45 metres out from the Subiaco goal.
What's causing those mistakes, Trev?
Well, just the pressure, I think, and maybe the heat. You know, it's 26 degrees.
I think they'd be getting tired.
Very intense for a quarter and a half.
Into the second half of the second quarter as Ridley went without it. Picks it up just inside the line. McFarlane has it. Thought about giving it to Bremen. Now goes to centre half forward. Donnelly was well covered, well smothered. Barrows has it. Hand passes to the advantage of Truella. If it'll sit, it won't quite, and he's outnumbered. He'll be happy to put it out of play. Truella can't get it out. Now the support arrives through Bell. He gets it to Malone. Well played, West Perth out of defence. Coming across to challenge him now is Donnelly. Long, hard run for that player. Good kick to Logan. The ball stays in. Oh, free kick against Hampson.
Gee,
what do you think,
was tough.
Well, very ticky touch, but you are allowed to go for the football.
Logan plays on and kicks high towards full forward. Monaghan in front, too much height from behind. Turley couldn't pick it up. O'Connor goes off the ground. Well trapped by Hampson. Knocks it towards the boundary line. Turley leads in the race, close to the line. It's gone out. And there'll be a throw in it right half forward for West Perth.
Just a very intense passage of play now. Both sides trying to press home the advantage.
48 plays 36 in favour of West Perth. 80 minutes gone in this second term. Too far for Bremen, coming from O'Connor's hand. In goes Groom, sliding it on top, but couldn't tie it up. McFarlane slaps it out. Lamb's there. He's in trouble. Was set upon. And the umpire finally calls it up. A little bit fierce in there, as O'Brien Gets Lamb away from Parker, who I
Parker's in a
think
bit of
got
trouble.
he got the high tackle. He staggers away almost. Stewart beaten by Downsborough. Subiaco had a height problem before. With Burton off the ground, they've certainly got one. O'Connor, in come the troops to tie him up. And it'll be bounced down again.
Yes, it won't be long before Burton has to come back on the ground.
West Perth have almost bulldozed this into the forward line. Downsborough again, well done. Logan went without it. Malone couldn't find it. Hampson at ground level, couldn't get the hand pass in. Now he gets it away to Snow. Over the top, that's dangerous. O'Connor, run down by Turley. Chance for O'Brien. O'Brien kicks it. Goal! What a kick, O'Brien, but it didn't quite carry. Missing the mark down there was Willett. He's in trouble now, tied up by Burns.
What
And
a sensational attempt from Darren O'Brien there. He just had no room at all, and I thought for 1 minute it was a goal.
Willett saved the day in the last line.
Nearly cost them too, didn't he, with the mark?
Downsborough, that's the third time he's got it down to Harris, who was held without it, says the umpire. Right in front of goal, but on a very acute angle. He's only about 10 metres inside the boundary. Let's have a look at that again, Trev.
Yes, well, how did he get rid of the ball? The free kick was against David Snow, but
he put it down for mine.
That's right. I think it should have been play on that decision.
He's lucky to have it, and he's missed it. And perhaps a little bit of justice there for Subiaco. Harris missing in the right full forward pocket as West Perth go to 7-7 and Subiaco 5-6.
13 points the margin as Monaghan brings it in. The target was Bremen. The kick wasn't good enough, but Malone, who was one-on-one out there with Bremen, is happy to run it out of play. And the throw-in will take place at left half forward for West Perth. It's a long way from goal. Two good kicks.
And Miller's on Burns. Parker had to come off with that hit in the head.
Well, that's a blow for Subiaco because Parker's been doing a good job on Burns, and I'm not sure that Miller will be quick enough to go with him as Whitelaw kicks back towards half forward. Downsborough was up in front. Downsborough gave a very good contest twice, three times. Gets the hand pass further afield. Burns is down behind play. Kick on goal from Logan. Won't score. Bounce is important though. O'Connor gets there first. He's able to get away from Logan. Shepherd from Snow gives him time. Shocking kick. Marked well by Lamb. Clever mark in fact. Now Lamb kicks towards half forward and Donnelly takes the mark. Miller going back looking for Burns, who's back on his feet. Donnelly kicks towards full forward. Heatley is there and Lifter comes over the top. Throw in is at left half forward for Subiaco.
And Gary Bacanara there saying, what can I do? I'm not going to be able to win it through my full forward today. Jason Hiller, that was a terrific spoil from Paul Mifka.
Throw in just inside Subiaco's 50-metre line. Langdon and Stewart doing battle with the much taller Whitelaw. Chance for Ridley. Hand pass wasn't great, but it finds Schofield. As clever as ever. Kicks towards McNish. Terrific kick. McNish under pressure, though, couldn't take the mark. Mildenhall is caught. Hand pass misses Curley, but he's got a lot of time. Looks down towards the half-back line, and Malone is unattended. Malone starting to cut them to ribbons. He's getting out on his own a lot. McFarlane goes across to confront Mifka. The kick down towards half forward, and the push is against Smith. The free kick will go to Willett.
The Subiaco supporters out there on the far side saw that one pretty clearly. Rod Willett, he's been in quite a few things so far in this game.
He's been good and bad, hasn't he?
I don't know the word to describe Rod Willett.
Yes, he's kicked 2 goals, but he's been caught holding the ball on a couple of occasions. Once again, that pace factor important, or the lack of it in his case.
Perhaps enigmatic. Forward of right half back. He kicks to half forward. Donnelly up in front. Barrows behind with Whitelaw. Comes down to Mildenhall. He goes back. Todd Curley working in a confined space. Can't keep it in play. 49 plays 36 in favour of West Perth. Wayne Loxley there for Subiaco. Their administrators. Langdon, well done, knocked to the side of the pack. Using his body there was Todd Curley on O'Connor. Back comes Langdon to make a contest. And finally the umpire comes in to separate them. 13 possessions to Malone. 3 marks.
Yes, he's been a very valuable player indeed.
Uncontested Whitelaw and thumped it 25 metres, maybe more upfield. Almost worth a kick, and that was a good effort by the big ruckman. Very agile, he and Fuster. Burton off the ground at the moment. It's Stewart doing the ruck work. Whitelaw couldn't do much about that. Bell, hand pass towards the boundary, and it beats Godden over the line. So just a flat spot at the moment in what's been a hectic contest so far. West Perth lead 49-36 in this second term. The grand final, almost 24 minutes gone.
Almost at time on in the second quarter as the chance comes up for Subiaco. Player pulled off the hand pass, I think it was Schofield, and now the free kick is going to West Perth, and it will be taken by Malone. He's had a good second quarter.
He has, hasn't he?
Didn't have the ball. He looks into the centre, and Truella is unattended. Langdon closing on him. Got his kick in just. Came off the side of the boot. Groom comes to it with Monaghan. Groom did best and was well shepherded in there by Burns. Groom with time and room. 2-on-2 back in the goal square. Well played back there by Metropolis. Chance now for Schofield. He has to come back towards the goal square. Willett provided the support. They need a good kick here, Subiaco. Closing was Whitelaw. Destroys Stewart's attempt to mark. Smith has it. He knew Turley was running at goal. His hand pass is chopped off and he's hurt his shoulder in that. Chance for Burns at the top of the square. He couldn't pick it up. Harris does. Hooks on goal. It's hung. Terrific goal to the West Perth captain. He's got two. And that starts to break the game open a little bit. West Perth 8-7. Subiaco 5-6. The margin is 19 points.
Well, a torrid passage of play here. Ryan Smith getting the hand pass forward and just perseverance. Craig Turley there. And you'll see the snap out of the pack from little Darren Harris. He didn't muck around. As soon as he picked up the ball, he knew where the goals were. And a snap over the left shoulder with the right boot was true. And he's been inspirational for his team.
Totally focused, the little man, as the centre square infringement has been recognised. And it's going to West Perth. As Subiaco in a spot of bother at the moment. Smith on a lead. He's taken the mark in front of Willett. He has been a headache. No penalty there. Crowd wanted a penalty. It wasn't there. Smith is still in the centre square. Groom moving around at full forward. That's the way it goes. Oh, he did this pretty well, Groom. Interference, I thought. Snow doesn't like it.
He wants to be careful.
Well, he was just pulled down. The free kick was clearly there, as we'll see on our replay. There's no risk about that. Groom was going to mark the football, but for the interference.
Well, you've 9 times out of 10 they'll pay these. We've seen that all year, in fact every year. Oh gee.
Well, he had his arm over his shoulder and just pulled him down, didn't he?
So Groom, Chris Groom, 2 goals to his name, and a chance for West Perth to lay the foundations that they can build on here prior to half-time. Shoots from just inside 50. Good looking drop punt. Just got in the right side of the post. He's got 3. .61 plays 36 close to half-time, and West Perth have got a handy break, Trev.
Yes, they have. It's 5 goals 4 to 2 goals 2 for the quarter, and it's all come from the centre line supremacy. And that's David Snow going crook about that decision, but it did appear that he pulled Groom down, and the centre line driving the ball forward. The weight of numbers has put that Subiaco defence under enormous pressure.
Very important for Subiaco to try and get one back before half-time, or not concede any more at the worst, as Whitelaw picks it up and gets it to Malone. Malone under pressure from Lamb. It's socked away by the latter. He retrieves it for Subiaco, looks towards centre wing. This kick needs to be precise. Snow and O'Brien and West Perth are playing with increasing confidence.
They're going with the half-time siren here, the Falcons, I don't reckon.
The play on to Curley. Curley in towards full forward. The mark taken by Hampson. Hampson looking for options. Kicks high, puts the Subiaco teammates under pressure. Was knocked on cleverly by Donnelly. Away goes Subiaco's McFarlane, kicks to half forward. McNish allowed the ball to go, I think, but it beat both him and Valentine. Blurton tries to soccer it ahead, taken by Truella, gets it to Mifka, cornered by Heatley. Good hand pass to Valentine, and here's Truella with dash from the back pocket. Oh, West Perth can't do anything wrong at the moment. Yes, they can. Steve Truella can anyway.
It always happens well.
The ball drifted away in that light southwesterly breeze, went out on the full. Now McFarlane takes the kick from O'Connor. We're just into time on. As McFarlane kicks back towards the 50-metre line. Donnelly up over the top. Spoilt Ridley. Mildenhall has it. Gets away from the pack easily. It's West Perth with all the run at the moment. Towards half forward. Logan was up. Lands with Hampson. He didn't look. Kicks hurriedly back towards half forward. Curley backed his judgment. Opportunity here for McFarlane. He pulled it back and put it over the line after missing it at his first attempt to pick it up. And there'll be a throw in on Subiaco's left centre wing. 9-7 to 5-6. West Perth in the box seat in time on in the second quarter of the 1995 grand final. They've worked tirelessly in this second quarter. It's time the knock ball goes Australian is taken by O'Connor. Up towards half forward. Ridley appeared to be pulled off it. Blurton fighting at ground level for West Perth. Taps it in the direction of Mildenhall. Blurton comes back. Kicked it around the boundary, but he was out of play. And there'll be a throw in at left half forward for Subiaco.
Ashley Blurton, only 4 kicks there, but he seems to have figured in quite a few passages of play with his electric pace and handball. Langdon on the ball, and so was West Perth's Whitelaw, screwed up towards half forward, but over the line. On the full, free kick to Damien Hampson.
Hampson started to do quite well against Logan, who's been a worry to the Subiaco defenders since he's come on, but really Subiaco not getting enough of the ball in their midfield.
Hampson's kick towards Donnelly, up in front, usually hangs on to those. Bell got it towards Todd Curley. Lamb put pressure on him, back comes Donnelly as well. And now Mildenhall gets tangled up. Malone's there with Lamb, pushed out to Snow. He hooks it high to centre half forward. Whitelaw lost it. Stewart knocked it straight into the path of Barrows. And Barrows goes for a cruise across the 50-metre line in defence. Then puts it up very high for Truella. Bounce is crucial, but it bounces the right way, I think, for Steve Truella, and finds the white line. And there's the half-time siren. Very good quarter for the Falcons. They went from 4-3 to 9-7. Subiaco from 3-4 to 5-6. 61 plays 36. And he led by example, Trev. Darren Harris.
Shaping up as the potentially the Simpson medalist today, along with Molly Malone, has done a terrific job. He hasn't figured it all, Jason Heatley, completely outpointed by Paul Mifka.
Groom has kicked 3, Smith 2, a good move into the forward line. Harris, as we've mentioned, Willett all over the place. The Willer, the Wisp, Rod Willett has kicked 2 goals. Langdon, Breeman and McNish have got 1 each. But Subiaco need to regroup now. They need to come back after half-time with all guns blazing, because West Perth on a bit of a roll prior to the half-time break. And there's been many good players for them, Trev.
Yes, there have. In fact, I've got a list here with about 8 long. Harris has been terrific. Curley, Mifka we mentioned. Malone, Logan, Fuster and Blurton. And there, Craig Turley going off has also done some good work for his team. And listen to the roar of the crowd as West Perth go off the ground. They're 25 points in front. There's half a game to go, but they're well poised to win their first premiership since 1975.
And that is one magnificent sight. If you follow the WAFL, it's a sight we haven't seen too often this year, Trev.
That's right, certainly for the home and away games, but terrific to see 35,000 plus here.
Yeah, I think at least. And we're watching what has been a game full of emotion, bubbling over physical pressure, and quite an amazing start to this grand final, instigated by Paul Mifka when he put Jason Heatley down and ruffled his feathers. Then that caused a chain reaction. Todd Curley went down and there was quite a bit of fighting. How long would that have gone on for? About 5 or 6 minutes before they could even bounce the ball.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a fair period of time, wasn't it? Certainly it was a
got the crowd going well.
Rough and ready opening to the grand final. As I said at the time, we haven't seen something like that in a WAFL grand final for a long, long time.
So West Perth, though, have been able to break the shackles of Subiaco a little and sneak away with a 25-point lead. And they did look the better side going into half-time. But Subiaco have been so resilient and have come back so many times this season. You don't win 19 games without showing your class, and I've got no doubts at some stage in the third term that Subiaco will raise their heads again. What do you read from those stats, Trevor? A little bit worrying from a Subiaco point of view.
Yes, 29 more possessions to West Perth, but a good percentage of them have come across the middle of the ground where most of their players are on top in their respective positions. Snow, McFarlane and Lamb have done some reasonable work for Subiaco, but just the weight of numbers, Malone and Harris in particular across there. Mildenhall has lifted his game. Logan playing as a double centreman has got plenty of the football as well. 29 more possessions to West Perth. Only a 5-goal lead for that, or four goals, 1 lead in actual fact. Maybe that's not quite enough. Centre breaks also. West Perth have broken out of the centre 10 times to 5, which wasn't up there. But when you can set the ball up nicely for the middle of the ground, it finishes up with goals.
Before going to the half-time break, as Subiaco come out for the second half, I spoke to you about what would you do if you were Gary Buckenara. As we see, the game has unfolded in that way, with West Perth with that 5-goal second term, and very impressive. Trevor, he's obviously got to get Jay Burton back on the ground, and Jay Burton has really got to take the game by the scruff of the neck.
Yes, he has, and I think another one of his stars, Andrew Donnelly, is very important for him as well. Burton will have to try and run out the whole of the last quarter as a ruckman, or the last half, I should say, as a ruckman, and he's just got too many players. Jason Heatley hasn't had a possession yet. He hasn't really presented himself. He seems to be unnerved by those tactics of Paul Mifka early in the game.
Comments there from Trevor Spriggs. Subiaco go into warm-up mode. West Perth doing a lap of the ground at the moment. Well, last Monday night was the 75th anniversary of the Sandover medal. It resulted in a sensational win to Craig Treleaven, who polled 43 votes. He defeated Tony Godden and Stephen Bilsich. The Sandover medalist has kicked a bit of butt in his time. Look out, John Anir.
Thanks a lot, Trev. Well, Craig, must be a big week for you after that great announcement on Monday night.
Yeah, it's been pretty big actually. Monday night, of course, is very big. Each amount of height of room for us, so we all went up there and sort of had a quiet couple. And then, yeah, the next few days have been it's been hectic the whole 3 days.
Well, it must be a proud moment for yourself and your family with the announcement of winning this year's Sandover medal.
Yeah, I was very, very proud like about it, especially the first one from Esperance to win it. That was a bonus, and yeah, it's been a great week, like mum and dad and that. So yeah.
It's a wonder they haven't flown you down to Esperance to celebrate down with a few of your mates.
Yeah, actually, it'd be scary if I did, mate. I'm trying to keep away from there as much as I can.
Well, what's in for football next year, Craig? You still got hopes to, possibly looking at AFL?
Yeah, yeah, I'm just going to nominate for the draft, and if nothing happens, then it doesn't happen. I suppose there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, I've still got ambitions to play, of course. But yeah, like I said, if it doesn't happen, then I'm quite happy to stay with this on another year.
Now, what do you think about that? The start of the first quarter, it was fairly fiery out there.
She was a fiery one. Actually, I was sitting behind the goals just up here, and yeah, she was fiery. Yeah, but it was good to see her get sorted out and back into it now. It's a very good game, actually.
Yeah, and I think you must be impressed with West Perth's performance so far.
Yeah, they've played very well. Just a pity we're not out there, but still, no, they've played well, and I think they'll go on it from there. Yeah.
Great, Craig. Well, thanks for your time, and once again, well done on Monday night. I think, I guess all the football followers predicted you'd have or you'd poll well, and I think it was a just decision.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised, but still, it's great to have it, of course.
Yeah. Good on you, mate. It's on the key ring now, is it?
It's at home somewhere. No, it's at home. I know where it is.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks,
well done anyway.
Thanks, mate.
Craig
Thanks,
Treleaven. Thanks you, John. John Anir with Craig Treleaven, the 1995 Sandover medalist. Well, what can he do in the second half? Jason Heatley, he's found someone who he's having a real problem with in Paul Mifka, as he did after he moved on to win the second semi-final. And those woes have continued in this game today.
That's a good sign there, TJ. Those players are very close together.
Yeah, good bonding there.
There is indeed, and they really want to bring this cup home to Joondalup for the first time for the Falcons for 20 years. Ridley, Breeman and Grumley have come to the bench for Subiaco.
And that's intriguing, Trevor, because I thought Ridley was one player that could perhaps give Subiaco a little bit of spark at ground level, and that's what they've been lacking.
Stewart, Fuster and Brunton, who'd gone back on the ground to McNish, probably obviously not right, have come to the bench, so they've got the spare big man. Whitelaw there will do the ruck work, and Fuster in reserve, with Ryan Smith still causing problems in the forward line.
The thing I like about the West Perth ruckman, Trevor, is their agility when the ball hits the ground as well. They've got very good second efforts.
And Fuster's got some pace as well. He's a long strider, but he covers the ground pretty well.
Well, Jay Burton, it's up to you, really, if Subiaco are to get a move on in this third term.
Metropolis to centre half forward.
So there's the bounce to start the second half. Both ruckmen missed it. Whitelaw fumbled it out wide, and Bell, slung as he kicked, goes very high and wide out to half forward for West Perth. Craig Turley the first to arrive. pack crashes around him. He goes back to Bell. Bell drives long towards full forward. Monahan at the back. Groom in front. Ball now in the pocket. Running onto it, the danger man for Subiaco in Darren Harris. He snaps one at goal. What a start! Gee, he's been electric today. He can do no wrong, Darren Harris. And he'll long remember his third goal in this grand final.
Well, if you wanted a dream start to a third quarter of a grand final, when you're 4 goals in front, John Dimmer's just had his. And it's just terrific hard work by Darren Harris. He's out of picture. There he is. And how quick did he get boot to ball, the little rover? He's been a great inspiration to West Perth today. And I think this far from home, TJ, the cup's on its way to Joondalup.
Yes, they're going to take some catching from here. They've got the pace, they've got the height. It's very hot and trying. And there's Whitelaw winning the ball again. Burns overran it, but knocks it on towards centre-half forward. Another opportunity for Logan. He went without it. It was Hampson who couldn't control the ball. And there'll be a bounce down at centre-half back for Subiaco.
This is a real test of character for Subi now. They've got to just claw their way back into this game.
Donnelly's gone into the forward pocket. So their star centre-half forward as Turley hooks the ball towards full forward. Groom was the player who charged at it. Downsborough knocks it straight to Logan, and he's missed. Oh, that's a bad miss by the youngster. That could just about have been a nail in the coffin, even this far from home, because 2 goals in the opening 2 minutes of the third quarter would have not just extended West Perth's lead, but would surely have sapped a significant amount of Subiaco's morale and energy. The kick in from Monahan is intended for O'Connor. Mildenhall is over the top of him. O'Connor was holding the ball for mine. He was a little bit fortunate. There'll be a bounce down 55 metres out from the Falcons' goal. They are in a commanding position. 2.5 minutes into the third quarter, and they lead by 32 points. Subiaco have managed only 5 goals for the game so far, and it's difficult to see them getting a run on that would allow them to kick a winning score from here. Ryan Smith, who's really contributed today, knocks the ball towards the boundary line. Lamb keeps it in, hand passes it to his own advantage. Then his second hand pass went astray, but he fought hard. Well played, Dwayne Lamb. Godden lost his footing at a crucial moment. Miller has it, gets it to Langdon. Langdon with the left foot, drives into a scoring position. McNish will fly from the back. The first player back to this will be Mifka, and he'll take it to the boundary line. Well played, Paul Mifka. Hasn't made too many mistakes today. He's perhaps responsible for that very ugly incident at the start of the game, but that aside, he has been a solid contributor at full-back as Whitelaw gets the ball to the side of the pack. Donnelly sharks it, hooks it towards goal. Heatley and Mifka. Heatley in front is spoiled by Mifka. Godden tries to break the tackle. Could have been penalised for holding the ball. Blurton has it, hooks it out of the danger zone. Now the race is on between Schofield and Bell. Schofield is very clever. Taps the ball away from Bell. He's got a player in Burton loose at centre half forward. He's just behind half forward. Goes long to the pocket, and Heatley's got away from Mifka. Good vision by Jay Burton and good disposal. Now Jason Heatley, who has been so accurate throughout the course of the final series, is about to have his first shot on goal for the grand final. We're 4 minutes into the third quarter, and it's opportunities like this that Subiaco cannot afford to miss at this stage of the game. A lot of pressure on Jason Heatley here. He has to kick these types of goals if Subiaco are to get back into the game. Oh, terrific kick. That's a very good kick and a very good goal from a fellow who's been well beaten for most of the day. Good comeback by Jason Heatley, and Subiaco pull one back.
Well, it's a situation here where the ball came into the forward line, allowing with some purpose, I guess, and not under duress. There's Jay Burton booting the ball into the full forward line, and you saw Heatley had got away from Mifka there, and that's what Subiaco need to do. It's status quo from half-time, back to 26 points. They need the next goal, the Lions.
Up goes Burton, beats Whitelaw, pointless. Knocked forward, though, by Harris. He's being under pressure from McFarlane and Godden. Now pushed out by Miller. Chance for Hampson. He gets it away to Parker. He's recovered. That's a very high kick. Logan will arrive. Well done. In pursuit, Dwayne Lamb, but Brendan Logan hooks it around his body. Ryan Smith went one hand, the ball went away from him, and Stewart ushers it over the line. Throw it in, says umpire Trevor Garrett. $26 points in favour of West Perth into this third term. 5.5 gone. Stewart in front, brings it to the side of the pack. Godden and Mildenhall are both there. It comes to Hampson. Torpedoes into the wing position. Whitelaw misses what he should have taken. Well done, Jay Burton. Then spins away from Mildenhall and gives it to Godden. The Sandover medal runner-up kicks to centre half forward. McNish punched away by Valentine. Over the shoulder, says the umpire. So Andrew McNish. Schofield breaks. It's too short. McNish ignores it right wisely and goes looking for Donnelly. Barrows up behind. Destroys. Running onto it, Schofield. Truella did well, but the umpire's whistle has sounded. And Brendan Barrows this time with a free kick in defence for West Perth. And a great job on Donnelly. Kicks to the outer side. Well, Downsborough hopelessly outpointed there.
Shepherding.
He was out of position, but shepherding is the rule. And that's the way it's gone. Free kick to Ian Downsborough.
Downsborough's at right half back. Subiaco giving away an important kick there. They had the chance to go forward. And Smith takes another strong mark out on the outer side of the ground between right centre wing and right half forward. Moves the ball on quickly, too quickly in fact, and he's put it out of play on the full.
Lucky I didn't say what I was going to say. I was going to say that was a masterstroke move to put Smith up there, and he boots it out of bounds on the full.
Yes, it's interesting though with Downsborough in the forward pocket, who's done okay at centre half forward.
O'Connor brought the ball back, but Downsborough takes a good mark, gets it to Truella. Truella bounds round the outer side of the ground, kicks the ball to within scoring distance for the Falcons. Groom at the back, slipped in behind Monaghan, who was caught out of position.
Far better judgment, wasn't it?
And Groom will take this shot from about 40 metres out, perhaps a little closer than that, and he's just to the right of centre.
Well,
the angle is no problem.
One of the cardinal rules about playing full forward is must hold your feet. Chris Groom did, his opponent didn't, Billy Monaghan, in trying to get back. He's tangled his legs. And this is a chance for Groom's fourth.
Yes. Subiaco having got the reply to the early goal from West Perth, concede another. The Falcons are not going to surrender this situation easily. And Chris Groom, who has contributed so well throughout the season, has been influential again today. He got 4 in the second semi-final against Subiaco, and he's got 4 already this afternoon.
As Ian Downsborough handballed the ball off to Steve Truella there, and he's used the ball very well, the little back pocket player, right to the position where he had the numbers. And Chris Groom, as I mentioned, holding his feet very well. And Subiaco again are threatened here. They must get the next goal.
Interesting to note, when Truella took off, Subiaco stood flat-footed and watched him, Trev.
No chase.
Knocked down to Harris. Hooked across his body. Logan in front. With him is Hampson. Good battle between the pair. Logan wins the day. Run down by Hampson, so he didn't win the day. Over the shoulder, though, says the umpire. So Logan finished up with the points decision. Had a good game. Drop punt. Groom, Downsborough at the back, knocks it away from Willett, diving in Groom, hand passes straight to Lamb. Subiaco skipper says thank you, and then hand passes out in front of Schofield. There's a player down, Willett, as Subiaco go to the outer side of the ground. It beats Snow, first back Truella, backed out of trouble brilliantly. Did that very well, Steve Truella. Now he finds Bell. Bell confronted by Burton, goes up along the white line, but ill-directed again. Willett, who was down a moment ago, has recovered quickly, gets a hand pass upfield to Stewart. On the crest on the outer side. Good-looking drop punt into centre half forward. Langdon's mark. Langdon tries to do too much. He was caught by Whitelaw, but got his kick in, but consequently it fell short, marked by Valentine.
Well, it's falling apart for Subiaco a bit at the moment. Here's Curley. Curley from right half back looks to the outer side of the ground, and Darren Harris is 15 metres in the clear. He runs at Willett, and then Willett takes him on, reload kick. Harris is down. He's all right. He's going to get to his feet now. The umpire's whistle's gone. Now what's happening? A free kick to West Perth. He's not all right, I'm sorry. I didn't realise it was that severe, but certainly it should have been a relayed kick, and I think what happened
I reckon it's been relayed twice, really.
I think the umpire paid the advantage
yes.
in the first instance. Here's the Downsborough kick. Now this is the second kick and the one that we're about to see taken. Groom, well, that was a bit soft.
Well, he's paid a free kick for that.
Yep.
Ostensibly. Harris is on his feet on the far side.
I think Subiaco will be a lot better manning up on Darren Harris throughout the course of the day rather than worrying about trying to fix him up after he's got rid of the ball. Now Groom lining up for his 5th. And it would be a goal that would make Subiaco's task well nigh impossible, I would think. It's 12-8 to 6-6. The margin now is 38 points. And Trevor, it's very difficult to see what Subiaco can do to get out of this hole.
Yes, indeed it is. This is Darren Harris. And I think probably their selection. They're just off the corner of the screen. There was the attack there by Rod Willett. And there's a very soft free kick was given to Groom there, but really they haven't got a tag and a play on Darren Harris, and the team selection from Subiaco has been very costly.
So back in the middle of the ground, Burton's Whitelaw didn't go very far. West Perth's Harris again with a free kick. Right in the middle.
21 possessions already. He'll win the Simpson medal by so far.
It's a good kick, penetrating kick. Groom through his hands at the back. Willett with nowhere to go. There were no options. He kicks it straight up in the air. Logan behind Hampson. Hampson, good mark. Lays it off to Godden. Then out wide, taken by O'Connor, who kicks to the wing. Snow juggles the mark. Subiaco on the move here, trying to build something up. Good evasion around Todd Curley. Brings it inboard. That wasn't so well directed. Now Mildenhall's got it. Shandover medalist. Kicks short. Whitelaw on the bounce. Langdon puts him down. And Truella runs away with the football. Free kick was paid, I think, as Truella kicks to half forward. Up in front was Smith. Couldn't hold the mark. O'Connor dispossessed. Smith plays on quickly. High kick towards full forward. Downs were in front. Monaghan destroys from behind. And again the whistle has sounded here.
And Groom's down behind play as well.
And Whitelaw's been taken straight off the ground.
Yes, it was blood
clash
there, I think, in the mouth. And Groom's been...
It was pretty crude on Whitelaw by Langdon.
Yes, it was a round armour that made contact, but here's Groom.
Groom's a bit shaky.
Yes, he is.
You can see what happened there.
He's got blood
you can see what
him.
happened now.
Gee.
We may be able to see that again off screen though, but this is Downsborough.
He's not allowed to take the kick, Trev, because Groom is having to come off for the blood rule.
Right.
He'll have to take that kick again.
Yep, and you can see umpire Trevor Garrett signalling that. That's the Langdon Whitelaw one. Langdon got tangled up. Now Groom off the ball, collected one from someone. And as Whitelaw sits down, he's okay.
He's okay. I think they just got him off as soon as they could. Anyway. While he was so close to the interchange gates, they could afford to throw Fiesta straight on.
I don't think Whitelaw's too well himself. Don't go on the ground yet. Whitelaw, I don't think he's that well. He started to go on the ground then before Groom had come off.
It's Groom's nose too.
Now Groom's off. So West Perth have made the change there. Groom off, Whitelaw on, and now Downs going to take his kick. He'll shoot from 40 metres. Drop punt on the way, comes back.
He's got it.
He swung it in. Off the boot, it looked as though it wouldn't make the grade, but it came back nicely. That's his second. West Perth now have blown this lead out. 86 plays 42, and it's Subiaco with so much work to do to even get back in the game.
Yes, with the ball coming forward there, Nathan O'Connor has tried pretty hard, and the ball scrambled forward by Ryan Smith. And a free kick there against Bill Monaghan. He's had a horror day.
So it's 9 goals to 3 since quarter time. West Perth have dominated since that period, or since that break, as Whitelaw wins the ball down, taken by O'Connor, gets a hurried kick. Whitelaw's put down again, taken by Curley, and now Monaghan and Blurton get mixed up. There's a bit going on behind play. This is Bell, right centre wing, in towards full forward. Chance here as Fiesta is spoilt from behind, taken by Stewart, who gets it to Willett. Willett looks back towards centre wing. Subiaco outnumbered there, but a courageous mark taken by Schofield.
Metropolis to the back line, and Monaghan now at centre-half forward for Subiaco.
Well, Subiaco trying to do something as the kick from Schofield under pressure finds Grumley. He's had a shocking day too. Grumley from between centre wing and half forward kicks to the true centre half forward position, and a terrific mark has been taken by Miller.
And welcome to our Metropolitan viewers to the grand final as Miller lines up for Subiaco, but they're 44 points in arrears. 55 metres out. Good looking kick by Miller for a goal. So Subiaco get one at the 15.5-minute mark of this third term, but it's been all West Perth since about halfway through the second term in what has been a physical grand final. It started off in explosive fashion when Paul Mifka put Jason Heatley down. Jason Heatley's had trouble getting back into the game, and the play didn't really start until about 6 or 7 minutes after the initial brawl. And finally, West Perth have established a handy break. But Trevor Sprigg, still there might be some life left in Subiaco.
Well, they trail now by 38 points. Paul Miller start on the interchange bench, finishing off well there. They need the next one, the Lions.
Almost perfect conditions here at Subiaco Oval this afternoon as O'Connor sends Subiaco forward. Blurton is favoured by the bounce. They come across to meet Monaghan. Down goes Blurton. I didn't see who hit him, but he hasn't moved.
Miller.
And it's a relayed kick. Heavens above, Subiaco have really lost it here. Here it is again.
Elbow.
Yeah. Now,
elbow, you can't raise your elbow, and gee, this game really has got away from the umpires at different times today.
Got away from Subiaco too.
Well,
they've lost their cool, Subiaco.
Yes, and the stretch is coming out for Ashley Blurton. Ben Stewart will come on to replace him. Blurton's been in terrific form. I haven't yet seen an umpire take out a book, so there's been no reports yet as far as we know.
Not sure what the delay is for now. There's a runner out there doing a lot of running as Blurton is carried around the boundary line, and he's going to the change rooms.
He is conscious though, so
yes. And Groom is also off the ground, so two key players off for...
well, just before Groom, Whitelaw as well. Had come off
he's back on though, but
he's
two
come
key
back
players.
on, but he went off with a facial injury.
And Brunton probably is struggling to continue as well for West Perth with a hamstring, so they're not well served with interchange players at the moment, but they've got a long lead.
And we're about halfway through the third quarter. It's showing 19 minutes, but in fact that would be the correct time. As Stewart kicks the ball towards full forward, Willett goes back and he takes the mark in the goal square. Downsborough is the player on the mark. Willett looks to the outer side of the ground. Hampson is the target. Mildenhall closes and fists it out of play. And this pro-West Perth crowd is responding to every deed that these players produce.
And what a crowd. 35,000 plus in a memorable West Australian grand final as Fuster knocks to the side of the pack and finds the white line. 86 plays 48, and perhaps more football left in this game than that score indicates, Trev.
Well, really, you can't find Subiaco being thrashed in the midfield, so they've really got to just try and claw their way back.
Well, they've used some physical pressure that has certainly put West Perth under a bit of pressure in the clinches in the last 5 or 6 minutes. As Miller runs across the full back line. In pursuit, Fuster delayed the kick. There was nothing on offer upfield. It bounces nicely. Taken upfield by McFarlane on the hand pass. Running onto it, Truella. He gets it back inboard. O'Brien caught by Langdon. Play on the call. Barrows and Lamb get tangled up. Donnelly tackled by Truella. Loses it to that player. He did very well. Then got it back to Stewart. Wasn't a great hand pass though. Now he's got to come back and retrieve his own football. Again, Mildenhall emerges. Threw it away. Play on the call. Pushed forward by Grumley. Taken by Barrows. Given to Stewart. And West Perth repelled the attack as they go to the outer side of the ground. Robbie Malone had a very good second quarter. Arriving late, Stewart put a good physical bump on him as they run it over the white line at half forward. And the boundary umpire to do the work there, going out in front of Parker. Not a great day. Been off the ground though with an injury. He also copped a high tackle in a very physical grand final. Stewart brings it down. Well done to Lamb. The whistle has sounded, and I think Stewart it is with a free kick for a tackle. 86 plays 48 here. 21 minutes gone in this third term.
West Perth searching for their first premiership since 1975. Subiaco won their last premiership in 1988. as Subi get the ball under the half-forward line. The umpire saw that one, and that should be a 50-metre penalty, or a 25 at least.
Gee, the most inexperienced umpire here, Darren Starcevich, has been in every single controversial decision, I reckon. He's handled them all right, though.
So the free kick.
Where's he playing Monaghan at the moment, Trev?
It's centre-half forward.
Free kick is with Valentine, with Valentine for West Perth, who kicks to the outer side of the ground. Big pack up, and the ball has gone out of play. Well, we made the comment early in our telecast for our country viewers that we were very surprised at the selection of this Subiaco team. They've gone for the older players, not the faster players, and have perhaps conceded one or two goal scorers, choosing not to play people such as Toya, O'Brien or Cox. And perhaps Subiaco are paying a price for that here at the moment. We knew they'd have trouble in the height department, but there's not much they could have done about that. They didn't have too many tall players to choose from, but they did have faster players, as Groom gets a round of applause as he comes back out of the change rooms with his bloodied face now cleaned up. And the ball runs out of play at left half forward for Subiaco once again. We're moving towards time on in the third quarter.
There's Blurton.
Ashley Blurton is also back. And West Perth are in command of the grand final. And there's another free kick going West Perth's way.
And Ben Stewart's just a terrific player to have on at this stage of the game. He does get into the bottom of packs, and that's why he got that free kick.
Kicked a vital goal in the second semi-final. Towards the end of the play, Craig Turley flashed to the play today too. Done some spectacular things, although that doesn't indicate a great game. From right centre wing, a wobbler into the forward line. Stewart over the top of Smith, taken by Downsborough. Off one step, he kicks it towards goal. Milton Hall will arrive in time. He got a favourable bounce, goes around on a small arc, hooks it back and kicks it. Well done by the Sandover medalist of 2 years ago, Neil Milton Hall. The red and blue streamers come out again, as once again West Perth stamp a bit more authority on this game.
Well, a 44-point lead as Turley brings the ball forward. And it really bringing the crowd to life. Hamish Stewart with a spectacular leap for really no result. And Milton Hall retained his composure. He had to qualify by playing the last game of the season because of his Dockers commitments, and he had a lot of composure there as he snapped that ball cleverly. And really, West Perth are well and truly home now.
5 goals to Groom, 3 to Harris, and 2 each to Smith and Downsborough for West Perth. And for Subiaco, only Rod Willett has scored more than 1 goal. O'Brien gets the hand pass to Harris. Harris gets the kick down towards half forward. Smith was in front but is spoilt from behind. Picked up by Willett, who didn't really look. Burton is there with Whitelaw, neither able to take the mark. Milton Hall did best at ground level. Langdon got his head out of the way in the nick of time. They wouldn't have been too sympathetic if they'd had a chance to hit it, I don't think. And now Godden clears the ball across the face of the ground and finds McFarlane. McFarlane has a teammate on further up the ground. The mark is taken by Miller, who kicks in towards full forward. Donnelly couldn't take the mark. Heatley, kicking under pressure, has put the ball out of play on the full. It's been a tough afternoon for Jason Heatley. He's kicked just 1 goal. Paul Mifka's done a terrific job on him. And the free kick is taken by Bell in the back pocket. He finds Milton Hall, who is playing with increasing confidence. He breaks through the back line, ran a long way, gets the hand pass across the top to O'Brien, and West Perth are away. Curley is unattended in the centre. Curley charges through half forward. That was Hampson who had to leave his man, and the mark has been taken by Stewart. 40 metres out from goal and almost directly in front.
Gee, isn't Todd Curley good at peeling off, though? When that occasion arises, he's always there.
Another short pass into the pocket, and Smith takes the mark. So Smith will shoot for goal, a fair bit closer in, but the fact that Smith was standing there unattended, I think, and Blurton now jogs around the boundary line. He obviously wasn't back earlier.
Let's have a look alike.
But the fact that Smith was unattended, I think, is a clear indication that Subiaco have run out of steam. And Smith steers it through for his 3rd. West Perth's 15th, and they are threatening now to turn this grand final into a rout. They won back in 75 by 104 points from memory. It was over 100 points anyway. and perhaps a target like that is in their sights now.
Well, it's only 50 points at the moment, but the Premiership Cup is on its way to Joondalup. Ryan Smith, we mentioned before, situation you couldn't find a position for him if he wasn't playing on Jason Heatley. He's kicked 3 goals on the forward line in a master stroke by first-year coach John Dimmer.
What a fairy tale run he's had, John Dimmer, with West Perth in his first year. Bounce down, Jay Burton gets it down, Harris best on the ground, gets a hand pass out. O'Brien's getting plenty of possessions now. Truella from half back to half forward. Brunton too far for him at the back. Bremen just on, and he's bustled over the line, but the ball was out already. Some of those players of that 1975 side, Winnan, Dempsey, Logan, his son's playing out here today. He's played a good game. Hillier, Fong, Watling, Smith, they'd all be feeling pretty excited at the moment, those players.
I think Barry Day had a day out that day, didn't he?
Kick 7.
Yes, he did. Godden beaten for it by Burns, picked up by Harris. Harris toe pokes it through, but it bounces away the wrong side for one behind only. .99 plays 48 in favour of West Perth, close to three-quarter time. And Todd Bremen, who kicked a great goal earlier in the match, puts it back into play now from full back. Subi outnumbered here, but perhaps the free kick will go Subiaco's way. Interference to Nathan O'Connor.
He's done a pretty good job on Craig Turley, Nathan O'Connor.
Yes.
Certainly got more possessions than Turley.
Kicks to centre wing, Langdon and Todd Curley. Langdon takes a skillful mark. Crowd don't like him, but they never do. Brings it inboard. Dwayne Lamb, run down by Stewart, didn't have the footy. McFarlane evades the tackle of Truella, kicks a wobbler inside half forward. Barrows is there, coming out to meet it too was Heatley, overrunning it though, and Mifka first back. He's been sensational, Mifka. And the ball now on the outer side of the ground for Metropolis to knock it over the white line.
They had a brief stint in the forward line, Daniel Metropolis, but he's gone back to the back line, playing at centre-half back on Downsborough once again.
Hasn't done enough though, Trev.
No, by the same token, his opponent hasn't been prominent.
Boundary throw in at left centre wing for Subiaco. This is O'Brien. He knew where the spare men were. Goes back over his head. Harris has to be the best player on the ground. Harris strides towards the 50-metre line. No pressure whatsoever. Kicks in towards Craig Turley. O'Connor was there and did pretty well. O'Connor gets it at ground level. They're under some pressure back there, Subiaco. Stewart kicks it close to the line. It actually bounces back into play. And that was Stewart who took it over, but was pushed over in the opinion of the umpire, and he gets the free kick. Stewart is about 70 metres from goal. Good pass.
Tested the hamstring.
Yes, Brunton on the end of it. He came off early in the game, and he will have a shot for goal. I think he's too far out to score. Downsborough's dropping back. Turley and O'Connor are also in the square. Downsborough up. Chance at the back of the pack for Turley, who went in and gave the contest on O'Connor. And Craig Turley has earned a bounce about 15 metres out from West Perth's goal. Relatively quiet day for Turley, 10 possessions. As Trevor Spriggs said, Nathan O'Connor's done quite a good job, but Nathan O'Connor has had very few teammates who have won their one-on-one battles this afternoon.
11-6 to 4 goals 2 since quarter time, showing West Perth dominance.
Burton is down there now for Subiaco. That was dangerous. He brought it back towards the goal square. Miller will get back to this first. Brunton is obviously not fit. He couldn't chase across there then, as Miller looks up towards centre half back. Took a long time to get rid of it, but clears the ball effectively. Finds Lamb. Lamb hooks it around the corner towards Grumley. Grumley misses what he had to take. In comes Langdon. He did well, but can't control the ball. Grumley was being held, and he'll get the free kick. So Grumley, the umpire telling Subiaco they have to bring the ball back. Grumley started in defence, but he's really struggled. Players loose on the outer side. Here's Godden, who we didn't think would take his place in the team this afternoon. Heatley on a long lead, takes the mark out in front of Mifka. Now he's going to kick from just outside feeders, Jason Heatley. And there you see Gary Buckenara on the right. And gee, hasn't he got some problems at the moment? In fact, I think the problems are behind him. I really don't think there's anything that he can do from here. His team trailing by 51 points. Jason Heatley lining up for his second. Goals late in this quarter would certainly help Subiaco, and Barrows takes the mark. That's well judged. And again, not the contest that Subiaco needed on the goal line.
You can see why he polled so well in the Sandover middle. Brendan Barrows completely blanketed Donnelly today, and it's been a magnificent final round for Brendan Barrows, recruited from Claremont. Logan in front of Hampson, punched away by the latter, and a boundary throw in.
He's one of the players here, Sam McFarlane, that's tried hard for Subiaco today with his 14 possessions, but as Wally mentioned before, really not enough players helping him.
Chant again goes up for West Perth. Boundary throw in here from the side. Todd Curley through the traffic. McNish. That's a good for Hampson. Hampson defensively. Now Burton's got to run onto it. McNish wobbles it up towards full forward. Bang back Barrows. They get mixed up. Mifka and Barrows allows Donnelly in. Barrows got Donnelly out of the way. Umpire's whistle not sounding. Mildenhall fed the hand pass, and away he goes again. Reminiscent of his 1993 form. And Stewart, as Trevor said, a very good player to come off the interchange. Takes the mark at centre half back, wheels around, puts it out in front of Valentine. Good thinking then. Quick hands upfield. Malone from the point of the square goes into the pocket. Downsborough up in front. Knocked away by Metropolis. Into the pocket now. Metropolis follows up his own football. Run down by Downsborough. Tackling's been fierce and strong from the moment this game started today. 10 possessions to Ian Downsborough. Smith and Stewart. Downsborough was there as well. Craig Turley feeds Harris. He snaps from the pocket. It's an open goal mouth. The bounce is straight up in the air. McFarlane and Mildenhall. And McFarlane pushed in the back. Close to three-quarter time. Ashley Blurton on the interchange now after a very heavy blow in this term earlier.
The kick finds Lamb at centre wing. Hand pass almost missed Miller. He's got it now. If he's not careful, he'll get caught from the side. Kicks towards centre half forward. McNish recovers well. Missed kicks as Donnelly was running back towards the square, and it lands with Mifka. Well, it really has been one of those days for West Perth. Everything has fallen into the slot as Logan clears from the back pocket, and he picks out Harris. Harris just inside the defensive 50 metres. It's going to be a very long last quarter for Subiaco and their supporters. Malone totally unattended in the centre square, and there's the siren. It's three-quarter time, and I think there's a few. Well, John Dimmer will enjoy this last quarter. If you're going to win a grand final, this would be the way to win it. You'll have about 30 minutes in which to thoroughly enjoy the euphoria. But if you're on the losing side, I think you'd probably wish that that three-quarter time siren was in fact the final siren.
They should have a mercy rule.
Like baseball.
Groom has kicked 5 and is still off the ground. And Harris, Smith, Downsborough, all great contributors in front of goal. And look at that. Jason Heatley, 1 goal to three-quarter time. And on the 1-1 contest, Heatley and Mifka, it's been Mifka almost every time that's won those battles, Trevor.
Oh, yes, and no risk that his tactics at the start of the game upset Jason Heatley, who wasn't allowed to focus on his job and what he needs to do. There's Gary Buckenara standing near his troops. Really, there's not much he can do. Philip Lamb with him, throwing the players all around this. Paul Bennett, who's been involved with East Fremantle with Ken Judge, but would be very disappointed. A team that finished 6 games clear on the premiership table are not going to win the flag.
19-2 it was when this final round series started. This is the start of the game again. Comments from Trevor Sprigg.
Yes, well, you saw Mifka there, and then, of course, Heatley went in to try and protect his teammate. So there's Mifka and Heatley involved in that one. Willett, sorry.
And in the meantime, Todd Curley off the pack there after he'd been flattened.
Yes, and there it is. Mifka going straight back to Heatley to say, you're involved in a ball game now. Heatley trying to take no notice of the situation. Umpire Garrett talks to him. And there, at this stage, you thought Todd Curley may be struggling. Look at the bemused look on his face. He doesn't really know where he is, I don't reckon, at that stage.
You're right, Trevor. He was in a lot of trouble there, and it still went on. It went on for some time. This was another flare-up now.
Barrows went in on Langdon there, and Dwayne Lamb came into it, and this is the 2 number 1s, Malone and Snow.
Like Bugner and Servey. There's no winner. And the umpires had a terrible job trying to settle them down.
By the same token, TJ, I thought one of them should have gone and bounced the football.
Yeah.
What do you read from the stats, Trevor?
Well, the dominance of West Perth is clear there, isn't it? They've even won the free kicks 30-17, but that's because Subiaco went headhunting in the third quarter. They're 19 kicks in front, they're 21 hand passes, that's a total of 40. The headouts have favoured Subiaco, but the centre breaks. In actual fact, the West Perth players positioned brilliantly around the ground. Little Darren Harris, the captain, has got so many times the ball out of the middle of the ground that I've lost count. I think our statisticians have as well. The marks should obviously expect to favour West Perth. They've had their own football out there for most of the day.
Subiaco in the huddle still with Gary Bacanara. And as Wally mentioned earlier, 1975, the last time this club won the flag. I think Mel Winnan was the Simpson medal on that day against South Fremantle. And let's have a look at some more replays, Trev.
As Craig Turley brings the ball forward there. Hamish Stewart, a nothing leap. Downsborough scrambles the ball out of the pack there on the left boot. And this is just good composure from Neil Middleton, the Sandover medalist. He ran around there, only had Rod Willett to beat. He's not going to be able to make up the ground. And he was able to finish off there. And that goal, which was West Perth's 14th, was the final nail in the Subiaco coffin.
There they are, Dad and Dave. Don't they look sweet?
Well, look, it wasn't smiles over at Subiaco camp. Of all the times we've been involved with Subiaco, you can barely hear Gary Bacanara, but he's well and truly having a serve to his players. Really, the main message was how embarrassed him and the co-selectors felt up in the box here during that third quarter. And the message really to his players was to gather some pride with this last quarter remaining. He really wasn't concerned with the result, but just very disappointed with the inept sort of approach he felt his players were having towards the game. Ashley.
John Dimmer, on the other hand, obviously very happy, very low-key during that three-quarter time break, but still very business-like, walking around, talking to his players individually. I don't think we'll see too many big changes, but he did impress on the players, and this was quite interesting. They're not only playing for his teammates out there, but the previous 20 years' worth of West Perth and Joondalup teams. It's been a long time coming. I think they're going to relish it.
Did the hairs on the back of your neck stand up then, Ash, when he said that?
I've had goosebumps all day, Trev, I'll be honest.
John Annear and Ashley Dillon. That's the way the game's unfolded.
Not another one, is he?
No, he's not.
We're outnumbered.
Another West Perth supporter?
Second and third terms have been the damage, Trev.
Yes, they have indeed. As we mentioned, 11 goals to just 3 or 4 since quarter time. And West Perth, this Brendan Fuster's going to try and lead them home. And the crowd cheer as they start the last quarter.
Well, they'll be hoping, of course, some of these Subiaco supporters that the Lions can find something. And you keep in mind, a lot of these games this year have gone down to the wire between the two clubs. And I've got a feeling that Subiaco might just raise one further effort in this game as Miller is beset upon, loses it in the tackle, picked up by Burns. He's had a shocker today, gives it away to O'Brien, nicely pirouetted out of trouble, kicks into the pocket, but Monaghan read it best. Just got away with that.
Thought he was off.
And goes right across the full-back line to find Jay Burton from the 50. He kicks to the members' side of the ground. That's a beautifully weighted kick that finds Snow. He's away, cuts inboard, kicks it up high to centre half forward. Donnelly arrives and takes the mark in front of Barrows, and a bit of treatment. Godden floating down the ground. Logan gets in his path, got a hand to it. It was a timely hand from Logan. Got it out of the Godden's way. Breeman, hand pass to McNish, who hooks on goal, but hooks too far. And the first score of the last term to Subiaco, one behind. Darryl Panizza, the Claremont coach, has a well-earned drink. 50 points the margin in favour of West Perth. And it's going to be tough for the Lions to come back from here.
West Perth led by 5 points at quarter time, 25 points at half time, 51 points at three-quarter time. And at the moment, it's an even 50 points. As Curley kicks in and then appeared to favour a leg after that kick. We'll see how he pulls up, but Mifka has taken a clever mark in the middle of the pack, gets it across to a teammate who clears it around the outer side of the ground and finds Mildenhall. Mildenhall has got better as the game has gone on. He kicks from left centre wing, a penetrating kick up towards half forward, and O'Connor outpoints Turley to take a good mark. He immediately drives it back towards centre wing. Oh, sent McFarlane up, who showed some courage to go back, and I don't know that that was a free kick. Well, perhaps Barrows wasn't looking at the ball. And
one of many today, isn't it?
McFarlane's kick finds Godden. Godden into the pocket. And Truella and Langdon go for the mark, neither able to pull it in. And we're going to have a boundary throw in about 30 metres around from Subiaco's right-hand behind post. 15-9 to 7-9. Throw in didn't come very far into play. It's taken away by Fuster now. He was pulled off his hand pass. Harris has it again. Good hand pass through the pack to Curley. Curley kicks across the face of the goal and finds Logan. Logan is in the right full back pocket for West Perth. He's been a good contributor today. He started in the pocket.
Terrific season for the youngster, playing his first season.
You mentioned at the start of the game that a young player usually emerges in the grand final. Maybe he's been the lad.
Yes, certainly. He's got a great future.
Gets the ball outside the 50-metre zone, and Burton goes up and takes the mark over O'Brien. Burton with a decided height advantage. Now he looks back towards full forward. I guess Langdon was the target. Maybe it was Donnelly, and Donnelly it is who's taken the mark. Langdon crashing across the top. So Donnelly will shoot for goal. Langdon hasn't got up in a hurry, but he's getting up now.
It's interesting that Subiaco's forward line seems more open than it ever has been. That's the characteristic mark that Andrew Donnelly coming across the front of the pack or up the ground. And really hasn't had the space to move into today, which is full marks to West Perth, of course, for filling them.
Well, he hasn't kicked a goal so far this afternoon, Donnelly. He's got one now. So Subiaco shows some life and spirit at the start of this final quarter. But it's going to be a long, long quarter unless they can produce something of a miracle.
Well, this is Jay Burton, who we felt has been a bit disappointing. He's won his share of hit-outs, but really not a lot of possession around the ground. And a strong mark there to Andrew Donnelly. But as I mentioned, much better with the Subiaco forward line more open. But Gary Buckenara's comment, as per what the boys on the boundary line mentioned, minimise the damage and regain some credibility in this last quarter. That's all they can do.
Boundary umpire's injured himself over on the far corner. He fell over. Tripped over himself.
Yeah, and now he's going to have to go off.
Yeah, well, the field umpire's going across to see if he's okay. He's told him that he is.
He's okay until he has to run again, I think.
He'll be okay. They're pretty tough. Burton wins the tap in the middle over Whitelaw. Lamb tried to soccer it out of the pack. Stewart run down. Ball being held to him. A lot of possession since he came on. Ben Stewart. Alan White and Wayne Loxley there. Backhanded by Whitelaw, but taken by Miller. His kick falls short, lands with Mifka. Mifka can't find the handle. Now he gets around Heatley. That was well done. He was in a spot of bother there. And a good 55-metre kick, but it's offline and out of bounds on the full. So it didn't finish up so smooth at the finish there for Mifka. Stewart kicks to half forward. Big pack up. Donnelly had his hands on it. Couldn't bring it down. Fuster emerges. Hand pass to Malone. Very good second term. Goes short. Smith can't arrive in time. And finally on his back gets it to Malone. Drills the hand pass through to Brunton. He got past Monaghan, but run down by Miller. Ball spills to Turley. He's dispossessed. In goes Stewart. Gets a hand pass to Snow. Caught by Downsborough. Stewart's got the crumbs. O'Connor's got him. He gets it away to Smith. Smith goes very high. Monaghan stands. Logan comes from the side. Punches away. Ball up in the air. Metropolis bumped off it by Downsborough. And now it's tied up underneath Daniel Metropolis and Robbie Malone.
And you just saw the situation there when West Perth or Subiaco looked like being able to score a goal on a couple of occasions or get the ball away. The pace of West Perth is just too superior for them.
Downsborough knocks it down. Craig Turley's there. All right, play on, says the umpire. Stewart run down by Godden. Now McFarlane turns back into trouble. That was touched off the boot. Bounces on the 50. Good courage by Miller. Burst his way through there and he set up Dwayne Lamb. Got a favourable bounce. Now a sweeping hand pass to Schofield. It jumped up for air and then he lost it. Allowed West Perth in. It was Mifka who came in to make a contest. Logan goes back towards Fuster. Now Mifka again. Hand passes upfield looking for Logan. Coming in strongly though is Burton. Showing a ton of pace there. Now he goes back into the middle of the ground. Miller judged it best. Knocked away by Donnelly. Barrows went to the ground. Picked up by McFarlane. McFarlane chips into the pocket. Breman and Valentine. Valentine pushes it out. Well done. He was under pressure. Now Mildenhall and McFarlane. Good use of the body by Neil Mildenhall. West Perth out of bother.
Doesn't lose too many one-on-one contests, Mildenhall. A very skillful player. And Malone kicks up towards the half-forward line with a well-weighted kick that is marked by Burns. Parker's had the better of him today. But gee, Robbie Malone, who transferred from Claremont, he's had some possession since quarter time. Burns comes infield to Truella, who has provided considerable dash from his defensive position. Monaghan missed what he should have taken and went straight through his hands, and now Harris comes in and wins the ball. Burton tried to knock it on, and now Mildenhall, it's not Mildenhall, O'Brien has gone down, but the kick is coming back to Harris, I think. O'Brien was taken high. They're allowed to play on. No Subiaco player runs at O'Brien, and O'Brien has kicked the goal. Well, it almost looks to me as though Subiaco have thrown in the towel. And I realise when you're this far behind that it's probably easy for it to look that way, but for the sake of the club, they have to play this game out.
Yes, Darren O'Brien has been a significant contributor. And despite the fact that he does lack defensive skills, 17 possessions running out of the middle of the ground, and he's an opportunist who uses the ball particularly well. He's the 7th goal kicker for West Perth. Subiaco have also had 7, but only 1 multiple Rod Willett.
105 plays 55. These teams have only met twice in grand finals, 1935 and 1973. It was 1-1. West Perth with a commanding lead as Hampson goes upfield. Out very wide, coming down McNish. And as always, pressure on him, this time from Bell. And get up to, well then, in his 200th, Andrew McNish, favouring a leg quite noticeably. Fuster and Heatley on the ball there. Lamb hurdles to O'Brien, McNish, Hampson. Too far for McFarlane. Now he's got some work to do. Mildenhall in pursuit. He's got a bit of time, and with good vision goes around the corner and finds Hampson at centre half forward. Langdon on the burst, and Lamb chips in front to take the mark. 45 metres out and not too much of an angle. So far in this last term, Subiaco have at least matched West Perth. But from halfway through the second term, it was West Perth who really stamped their authority when the game was there to be won. Lamb stabs at goal almost and kicks it. Well, he had a very good first half, Dwayne Lamb, and he's finishing off in good style 10 minutes into this last term. 105 plays 61. Trev.
Yes, Damien Hampson here, who can hold his head up, is one of the Subiaco players that's tried pretty hard since he came on the ground. And could this be the last time we see Dwayne Lamb playing WAFL football? And maybe the last goal you see Dwayne Lamb kick in a terrific career with the West Coast Eagles and Subiaco. But judging by that performance today, maybe he's got another year left. I wouldn't be surprised.
The ball back in the centre. Burton will oppose Fuster. Burton wins that ruck knock. But Subiaco, who've made a lot of ball handling errors today, concede that first possession. And there'll be another bounce alongside the centre circle. Too many times they've had the opportunity to take the ball away and just fumble or don't capitalise on that opportunity. And this time Hampson has pulled off a hand pass, and West Perth bulldoze the ball forward, and eventually it's Turley who picks it up. And once again Malone has given the pack the slip. He takes possession 60 metres out from goal, chips it down towards Downsborough, who can't pull it in under pressure from Metropolis, and there'll be a throw in 55 metres out from the West Perth goal. 16-9 to 9-7. That's terrific kicking by West Perth too.
It's been a hallmark of the finals, hasn't it, the straight kicking?
Yes. Parker tried to take clean possession. Metropolis has it. Hand passes to Snow, now O'Connor, who kicks under pressure from Burns into vacant territory, and it's Curley who leads in the race for the ball. He trapped that cleverly. It was an awkward ball, but Schofield fought back well. He's not able to take it away, and now there's going to be a bounce between the centre line and the half-forward line for West Perth. 16-9 to 9-7. It's been a very solid performance by the Falcons after stealing the second semi-final by a solitary point. They're in fact developing something of a hoodoo. The Subiaco player penalised here.
Yes, good decision from Trevor Garrett there, because Sam McFarlane just ran across the boundary line. And you'll see it here. He's claimed by Brendan Logan, and no attempt to keep that ball in play. Good decision, umpire.
Logan with the free kick just outside half forward. It was West Perth who knocked Subiaco out of the finals last year in the first semi-final by 3 points. They beat Subiaco in the second semi-final this year by that solitary point. And now They're really administering a drubbing to the Lions as we move through the final quarter of this grand final. Malone had the ball knocked out of his fingertips. Harris has it, taken by Downsborough. There's no one in the square, and Downsborough's kicked another one.
What a beauty.
That's his third, and the West Perth players are joyous. They will celebrate for the remainder of this quarter and long and hard into next week.
And then next year.
And why shouldn't they? And this little fella again, Darren Harris, that's another assist. He's kicked 3 himself. He's been in everything, Darren Harris. He gave the ball to Ian Downsborough there, who's had a terrific battle with Metropolis. And as Wally said, there's fans are pretty joyous now, and I think you'll hear the roar go up for the rest of this quarter.
Back in the middle, Whitelaw beats Burton. Hampson, good tackle placed on him. It came back to him. He's on the ground. I don't think he really wanted that in that position. O'Brien had him really tied up there. Dwayne Lamb's played a good game for his side. They haven't been good enough on the day. Burton down to Lamb, throws it out. Lamb again, tunnel balls it back. Hampson and Whitelaw. It spills to O'Brien. West Perth on the move again. Harris almost made ground to take that mark. Godden caught by Downsborough. It comes to Burns. Burns got a hand pass away, but it was sharp by Daniel Metropolis. He was looking for Smith. To the outer side, McFarlane. He's got a fit of the fumbles out there, Sammy McFarlane. He goes down off the ball, play on the call. Milton Hall from 50, lines up and misses.
Godden down with cramp.
Yes, the
came in with a suspect foot injury, didn't he? But
selection decision when you haven't played for 4 weeks, you've got to question that.
Hope it wasn't his left foot then, Trev.
He's only got cramp there, but he's certainly under a cloud and ruled out on Friday morning. This is Stewart now in the back pocket. Had a few touches. Good kick. Gets it out of the danger zone. Whitelaw at the back. Burton was in front. Comes down to Malone. Intelligent hand pass. Sends Milton Hall away again. Have another shot. Neil Milton Hall from 50 again. This time it's straight. West Perth cruising away. He's kicked 2 today. And he's really come back to show some of the form of 2 years ago. He's had a season interrupted with injury for the Fremantle Dockers, but he's been a very handy player in these finals. 118 plays 61. The cup on its way to Joondalup, Trev.
Yes, certainly is. And this player, Neil Mildenhall, has had a bit more to play for than just the premiership medallion today, because I know the Dockers have said to him if he can play well in the finals, he can retain his place in the squad. Well, judging by his performance today, particularly after quarter time, he had his troubles with Sam McFarlane early, but he's just persevered like a lot of his teammates to be a dominant player at the end of the game.
57 points is the margin as Whitelaw goes up, wins a decisive knock, chopped off by Miller. Miller gets it towards half forward for Subiaco. Schofield leads in the race for the ball. He dropped it twice. Jared Schofield's had a lot of problems picking the ball up cleanly today. Kick in towards Donnelly wasn't good either. It gave Donnelly very little chance, and he's going to get the free kick anyway for being ridden into the ground. Donnelly will kick from outside 50 metres. Cross in the direction of Heatley. Mifka got a hand to the ball, down to Logan. Valentine clears it up towards centre wing. Turley leads O'Connor in the run to the ball. Turley tapping it on cleverly. In comes Logan to lend support, but it was O'Connor who picked it up, gets it to Snow. Snow into the pocket and finds McNish. I think there are a few Subiaco players who are perhaps in the same situation as Dwayne Lamb here this afternoon, Trevor. It'll be interesting to see if players like McNish and Willett and Lamb decide to go on next year. Bremen would be another one. Langdon. So there could be a big turnover of Subiaco players next year. But back to the situation here. This year, 18-10 West Perth, Subiaco 9-8. And you have to say that this will be a very fitting result, with West Perth obviously going to go on now and win the 1995 Premiership. They are one club that really has continued to support wholeheartedly the WAFL. And when I say that, it's not just the club, but their supporters. It's the West Perth games that still have an atmosphere, that are still well patronised, and at which there is still some passion for the domestic, the WA competition. And in addition to that, I guess they were the club that was prepared to make a bold move and move their location from historical Leederville Oval out to Joondalup. and that too is to their credit. And now they're reaping the benefits of that support and those moves as they move towards their first premiership since 1975. Logan, wrong foot's Monahan, goes on goal. I think it'll just miss to the right. But I heard a whistle then, but the behind it will stand.
An interesting situation, isn't it? Maybe that last quarter, when they flashed home against Subiaco at Joondalup, just gave them the impetus and the belief that they could win this premiership. Very significant quarter of football, I reckon, that one in hindsight. Well,
very, very true, Trevor.
It was also the start of the undoing for Subiaco,
yes,
wasn't it?
They knew from that moment that Subiaco were far from invincible. That's a good kick out of defence by Miller that finds Lamb. Fuster arrives to stand the mark. He's away now. Wayne Lamb, plenty of possessions today. Good kick up to Heatley. One of the few times he's outpointed Mifka. He goes right across the half-forward line to find Grumley. Grumley chips into the pocket for Donnelly. So a positive move then from the Lions.
Look at Schofield.
Donnelly kicks it to Schofield. He's marked 25 metres out and directly in front. And I guess 30,712. The crowd, I thought it might have got up to 35. But just over 30,000 is a very good response for this WAFL Grand Final. Schofield kicks at goal, stabs it through. Another one to Subiaco. They're 10th today. They're 10-8-68. West Perth are 18-11, 119. When you look back on that second term, as we watch this replay again, Trevor, what were the reasons that West Perth were able to break the shackles of Subiaco?
Well, I think they got on top across the middle of the ground, in fact, TJ. When Mildenhall had been beaten by McFarlane, he came back very well. Lamb had a very good first quarter. O'Brien started doing well against him, and Malone just had a terrific quarter sitting ahead of the play. The lack of taggers that Subiaco had available to them today to play on Harris, Malone and Turley. The Turley one has worked, I suppose, with O'Connor. Has cost them the grand final.
It's interesting, isn't it? You're suggesting that perhaps they could have chosen a different team, Trevor. I just wonder if sentiment played a role in the selection of this Subiaco team with those players that I've talked about, as McNish tries to get a hand pass away, but West Perth are still not going to concede easy goals. Barrows sweeps the hand pass out wide, and it's going to be a relayed kick against the tackler, and I didn't see who that was. Here's Malone again. Gee, I'd like to see his figures. 22 possessions, 11 kicks, 11 hand passes. He's about to have his 12th kick.
Two handy pickups from Claremont, Barrows and Malone.
Yes, and this will be a sweet result for Brendan Barrows, having missed that grand final or that premiership with Claremont a couple of years ago when he was omitted at the last moment to allow Mark Hepburn, who was on the Eagles list, to come into the team. As Lamb is dispossessed by Turley out there. Mildenhall has pulled off his hand pass, but Harris is there, drives it back towards the 50-metre line. Harris has got cramp.
Yep.
He's entitled to have it.
He's got leather poisoning, I reckon.
Here's Metropolis clearing for Subiaco on to centre wing.
Oops.
That may have been the sun. We'll give Paul Miller the benefit of the doubt. He gets it to Snow. Snow goes back to Monahan. Monahan wants to take Whitelaw on, but he wasn't quick enough. Not a good kick to McNish. It cleared him. Taken by Donnelly. And with a tired effort, puts the ball out of play on the full.
Gee, if he's tired, also Brendan Barrows was really chasing and labouring then. And there's a pretty disappointed coach, Gary Buckenara.
19 home and away games, eh?
He's done most things right this year. His team have let him down when the crunch really came, but selections have to be questioned, I reckon.
Subiaco with 19 wins, 2 losses in the qualifying rounds. West Perth went into the final series with 13 wins and 8 losses as Miller kicks another belated goal for Subiaco. It's 18-11 to 11-8.
Only 7 goal kickers for the Falcons, but 9 for the Lions. 2 multiples now. Paul Miller, who came off the interchange bench and has worked pretty hard, really. He's involved in an incident with a West Perth with Blurton earlier. We saw Blurton off the ground, but Rod Willett and Miller, the only 2 players, both defenders. 14 possessions in about 2 and a bit quarters for Paul Miller. Just about gives him a berth in their best player list.
Back in the middle of the ground, Garrett, good straight bounce by Trevor Garrett. Up goes Fuster, beaten by Burton. Ricochets back into the middle. O'Brien's there, working hard, trying to get a soccer attempt at that, but Lamb got in his path. Turley now working hard. Fuster tried to backpedal. Heatley's got him. Football's about 2 metres away. They've still got each other there in a nice embrace. John Dimmeray played for Subiaco in the 1973 side that defeated West Perth in that grand final. Now he's the coach of the Falcons, who taste victory in the last one of the year for the first time since 1975. Goodness, well, we can hardly remember that far back here.
Well,
How old were you?
I remember calling that game.
And,
against South Fremantle, and as we said earlier, it was a 104-point margin. Good mark back there to Mifka. Yes, it was a very decisive victory that day. So when they win them well, Trev.
Valentine from a standing start kicks it straight into a pack of Lions led by Jay Burton. Beaten today. He had a big task to outpoint that ruck battery of West Perth that included Fuster, Whitelaw, Downsborough and others. That's a good kick to McNish inside 50. And Jay Burton's found that task a bit beyond him today as he kicks on into the forward line. Monahan stole it out of the hands of Truella and kicks a goal. Well, he'd like that, Billy Monahan. But on the day, he was badly beaten by Chris Groom.
Yes, he was, and personal glory doesn't mean anything. Billy Monahan, I think, has been trying to get down there and kick a goal and get his name on the score sheet for a while as he strides back through the middle of the ground, now back to his full-back position. Really a tired Steve Truella then, just couldn't take the ball with him. And Bill Monahan asked the goal umpire whether that was accurate or not.
It's 39 points, Trev. You're not getting nervous, are you?
Not yet.
No. I don't think you need one.
Not if Monahan's kicking goals, no.
It's Brendan Fuster, who has really emerged in the latter part of this season.
Yes, he'll be on an AFL list after December draft.
He'll be opposed here by Jay Burton. Burton perhaps did the best there. Grumley tried to crash through. Mildenhall's hand pass chopped off by Snow. Snow towards full forward. Another chance here for Subiaco, but it will be Bell who'll run the ball out of defence. He was run down from behind, but they've got options up the ground. Malone gets it back to Bell. Bell clears the ball down towards the half-forward line, and Metropolis goes back and takes the mark. West Perth crowd not happy with the decision, believing he didn't hold it long enough. Grumley takes the mark. Gives it to Burton, who was cornered. He has to go back to where Metropolis first took the kick from. Hampson has it now. He kicks down towards centre wing. Monahan is there. He gets rid of his immediate opponent. Players overrunning the ball. Monahan chips it to Lamb. Lamb kicks towards full forward. McNish thought there was someone coming. It comes back to McNish anyway, and he hooks on goal and just misses.
But nothing out of their forwards today, Subiaco. He's on one leg now, McNish. Langdon, nothing. Heatley, quiet. Donnelly, beaten. And if there's nothing up forward, Trev, then really you're behind the 8 ball before you start.
Especially the way the ball has gone in there. West Perth were able to get back and really make it a scramble back there with plenty of numbers.
There's a very good kick back into play by Todd Curley. It found Mifka, had a birthday on Heatley today. Kicks to the wing on the outer side. It was a good bounce for Fuster. He finally found the handle, lumbers around Jay Burton, kicks into the middle of the ground and finds Downsborough. Burns on a lead. With him is Parker. Still battle for it. Malone lending support. And finally the umpire will take it. Neither players had a great influence on the game. Shane Parker or Ronnie Burns. Ronnie Burns.
I think Parker's bleeding again from the head.
Yes, he copped a heavy knock early. He's got to go off with the blood rule. It's only a trickle, but that's the law. Ronnie Burns is a nephew of Benny Vagona, of course, who played more than 150 games for South Fremantle. Had a touch of brilliance about him. Benny Vagona, Trev.
Yes, he did indeed. And Ronnie Burns, who hasn't had a big day. Tony Godden very reluctantly has to go back on the ground for Subiaco. I think most of the Subi players want to get out of here and hide.
Now bounce just outside 50. West Perth going into attack. Downsborough, big thump forward, too far for Hampson. Chance for Harris. He sockers it into towards the pocket. Smith was being held by Stewart. This will be fitting. A great way to finish, Darren Harris. And look at him. That's exactly what he would have dreamt about, Trev. He's kicked 4 goals today, and he would have thought about that long and hard. I'd like to kick one to finish off West Perth's first win for 20 years in a grand final.
And he's been inspirational, that little fella. And Craig Turley there with him. Marty Whitelaw, just terrific football. And he just perseveres. Look at the little fella running here. Cycles it to his own advantage. The second effort. See this? Tapped by Ryan Smith. He had a look around and he loved it.
Had a grin on his face before he kicked it, didn't he?
He's running, but his feet aren't touching the ground there.
44 points is the margin. We're well into time on now in the final quarter of the grand final. Burns sends Malone away. Malone goes towards Smith and he's taken the mark. If not the mark, he'll get the free kick, and I think it might have been the latter. He's exhausted. That's all it is.
He's been a good player in the forward line. It's been a great move by Dimmer.
Yes, he's done very well.
Well, Bucky told me 3 weeks ago, Wal, that he was a little bit frightened of the height of West Perth, and he wasn't making a statement just off the top of his head. He was genuinely concerned about the height of West Perth, and
perhaps Ryan
it's
Smith
come back to haunt him today.
Perhaps Ryan Smith was struck there, and he's just pointing out to Stewart to have a look at the scoreboard. Feels as though he was partially done by, but he's got the free kick.
It's an old trick, Wal. You used to pull that one.
And now what's happened?
50.
What for?
I think it might have been given before, actually. As umpire Garrett went up to Stewart previously.
Yeah, 25.
Well, Smith now has the opportunity to kick his 4th goal. He'll be shooting from about 20 metres out. He's almost directly in front, and he's made no mistake as he goes back to Hamish Stewart and lets him know. And the red and blue flags are waved in triumph yet again.
Well, 51 points at 3/4 time. It's back to 50 now, as Ronnie Burns giving a hand pass off there to Molly Malone, West Perth's second best player, and just leading and attacking the football. That's what West Perth have done all day. They've led their opponents to the ball and have deserved this magnificent victory.
Well, the shot of Brian Smith said it all, didn't it? Tremendous emotion here today, all day, and a marvellous win. Lamb's tried his heart out. Burton gets a hand pass away. Snow will run onto it. Decided to go for the soccer attempt. That won't come off because Bell runs it down. Although it will come off eventually because Bell's kicked it out of bounds. There's John Dimmer, triumphant, successful in his first year with West Perth.
Listen to the roar when the crowd see him.
Yeah, they will. He's wrapped, and he's a real gentleman, John Dimmer. Arthur Oliver was successful in his first year with West Perth back in 1960. Big roar goes up, big pack goes up. Mark has been paid. Dimmer comes down to the bench, and he's almost not touching the ground either with his feet.
Did Graham Campbell win in his first year also?
He could have done too in 75, yes.
Yeah, it's a trait that West Perth have got, hasn't it, with their first-year coaches?
Monaghan went looking for Godden. It bounced past him, but picked up by Snow. Inboard to Grumley. Logan's got him. Godden couldn't control it. Valentine, or Stewart it is, pushes it towards Downsborough. He loses it. Metropolis gets a good hand pass away to Burton. Only going through the motions now, these players. Big pack up here. Barrows had a grip on it. Couldn't bring it down. Fuster, good evasion, but he hand passed straight to Langdon, who misses. Crowd will love that.
Carl might have called it quits if he'd kicked that one.
John Dimmer even enjoyed it. But you're a bit hard on Langdon. He's only about 25, isn't he?
27.
27, is he?
I think the injuries have taken a big toll on Carlo.
He's not the player he was.
Valentine down there. Kicks to the 50. Not a good kick, though, and Miller's taken the mark over Malone. Well, 31.5 minutes plus have gone, so it can't be too long. 50 points the margin. Miller to shoot. He's kicked 2 since he's come on and put Blurton out of business. That'll fall short. Oh, Curley! There's one for the books, Trev.
Yes, he wanted to get his name in the book as well.
Well, he's done it before, and it's not surprising to see him get a ride like that. Good, you wouldn't get a better ride on the booze bus than he got there.
Go on, Trev, you can bring them home.
All right. Hope it's not too long, Wal. Logan kicks to half forward. Craig Turley punched away there by O'Connor. Here it is again, Trev.
Right, sensational mark. He was right. He had the run at that.
Gee, that was a little bit reminiscent of that mark taken for Melbourne.
Oh, it was a streaker.
A streaker!
well,
I think if I was a West Perth supporter, I'd be wearing everything red and blue I could find.
Unbelievable.
Well, it's very sad, actually, because it's detracting from West Perth's moment of glory.
Anyway, that jumper or scarf will come in handy as he leaves.
That'll be an auction item, I reckon.
Yeah, get off now, because you've had your moment of glory, buddy. Just trying to get a better look. No one you know as well.
I just think it's pathetic.
Yeah, it's not good. Well, the streak is gone, thank goodness.
Absolute imbecile.
Haven't seen that for a long time, and it's not something that you'd recommend. Mifka, brilliant hand pass. Milton Hall had a look, sold the dummy. Logan, been great today from 30. Puts it through. Another one to West Perth. They've beaten all the odds today, including the streaker, and you well deserved that drink, John Dimmer. 137 plays 81. Nearly 35 minutes gone in this last quarter.
Yes, and a good passage of play again. Mifka involved, one of the stars, to Milton Hall, who's fought it on well. And this is Brendan Logan finishing off brilliantly. And all the West Perth players getting up there to congratulate them. They're all streaming back to the back line now. Steve Woodhouse, the general manager, there with the coach as well now.
Yeah, he's done a
and
good
they
job.
should save at the moment. A team that kicks 20 goals, they've done it for their last 4 games.
Both
it's going to be hard to beat.
Both former Subiaco clubmen.
Back in the middle, awkward bounce. Burton gets it down, kicked away there by Grumley, very high to half forward. And David Snow's got a race on. Brendan Barrett, there it is! West Perth have won the grand final for 1995. Darren Harris, a very proud captain. West Perth's first win for 20 years. Harris congratulated there by Whitelaw. And there'll be a few tears around the ground today. Johnny Dimmer goes out to the middle to congratulate a wonderful band of West Perth players who were totally focused on bringing home the bacon for the Falcons today. Todd Curley, you were magnificent. Great game. Brendan Fuster, sensational. And the coach well proud of this 21-11 to 12-9 win by West Perth. 137 to 81. And the crowd have gone berserk here.
And our ABC cameraman right in the middle of that. That's terrific to see, isn't it? They're doing their work.
Young Robbie in there, doing a great job. And here's just scenes that we haven't seen for, what, 20 years or more. I feel my heart goes out to the family of the late Roy Ennis right now. They wore black armbands today in memory of that great West Perth custodian who was around for so long as a trainer. He didn't quite make it today, but a lot of hearts go out to that family today.
Oh, Roy be looking down. He'd know all about this.
And my girlfriend, Rosa Townsend, I can imagine how she is at the moment. She'll be in that pack somewhere, looking to steal a kiss.
All, yeah.
I'll tell you what, a large proportion of the crowd has stayed in the stands too, which is a further testimony to this club and these players. Don't forget that back in May, towards the end of May, in fact, they were 5th. They weren't even in the 4. And as the season has gone on, they've got better and better. And as Trevor Spriggs said in the latter stages of our commentary, I can't help but feel that the turning point perhaps came at Joondalup in the final qualifying game between these two teams, when Subiaco turned for home at 3/4 time in that game with a 43-point lead. They held on to win by 3 points, but West Perth were magnificent in that final term, and they kicked on from there, whereas Subiaco appeared to lose momentum. They subsequently won a close one against East Fremantle, but then lost the second semi-final, held on in the preliminary final, but today didn't ever show any of the form that they'd shown earlier in the season.
Let's check the final scores from this memorable grand final. For West Perth, 21-11, 137. Subiaco beaten today, 12-9, 81. after a magnificent season of 19 qualifying games and only 2 losses. Paul Mifka can hold his head up high. 56 points, that margin.
Now the West Perth players have got the message, and the rest of them are starting to move across towards the presentation area. And that won't be an easy task because there's a lot of players. A lot of people that have now encircled the presentation area.
I suppose there's a lot of these players, Trevor, that would have thought they may go through their careers without winning a grand final. He's one of them. Yes. Congratulated by Stuart Hillier, who played in the 1975 grand final. 3 cheers go up for the Falcons. Been a great contributor, Craig Turley.
Yes, and he's 30 years of age too now, Turley, so some of these players are running out of time, and Paul Mifka there, it's his first premiership success in any grade of football, I believe, and you know, he was very committed today.
With the support and the financial benefits of moving to Joondalup, it could be the start of a new era for West Perth.
They've got some good youngsters coming through their system, and they've got a very good coach, and I think he was very much maligned, John Dimmer, early in the season. A lot of people thought that maybe he wasn't the right sort of person for the coaching role. There's 2 really good players, Ian Downsborough and Brendan Barrows there. I'd like to see Barrows get drafted to AFL football. He's hard and tough, and he's mean, and he's the sort of player that would do well at AFL. He's 24 years of age and knows the system, and Barrows would certainly have a future in that grade, I believe.
The players finally getting together in an area that's been roped off in the centre square where the presentations will take place, and the medallions and the Simpson medals will be handed out as the WAFL board chairman Barry McKinnon congratulates the Falcons on their wonderful win today.
Me, Tom James, and all of those people at West Perth who had the courage to make a decision to relocate to Joondalup today. This victory has been a crowning achievement and rewarded that courageous decision.
You'll hear the biggest roar when Darren Harris gets announced as a Simpson medalist.
To Subiaco, congratulations to the Subiaco Football Club. They were courageous to defeat a club that had 3 teams in the finals, and I think they're just rewarded for a good year. To our sponsors in Pepsi and Healthways, thank you very much indeed. And now to John Dimmer. Darren Harris, could you come forward and we'll make a presentation, please, of the premiership flag.
The captain, Darren Harris, he led by example from the word go and kicked that goal towards the end that really was the cream on the cake.
John Dimmer, the coach, Darren Harris, the captain.
Here it is.
Receiving the pennant, the flag for
Proud moment
1995.
for John Dimmer and Darren Harris.
There it is. West Perth, the Joondalup Falcons, premiers 1995.
Hard to believe after all this time, Trev.
They had that sign up very quickly,
yes,
didn't they?
they did.
Call upon Mr. Callum
But yes,
Kerr,
20 years
forward, ladies and gentlemen,
in a long time.
Pepsi here in Western Australia. Our major sponsors of football, Pepsi, and have been for many years. Mr. Callum Kerr to present the Pepsi Cup.
This is what they play all year for, that hard work that goes on for months and months. And then the EMU Export Series, the pre-season cup, and now the home and away games that lead into these finals. There's so much work and sweat and tears that go on, and to receive this now is just the hallmark of an outstanding year for the West Perth Football Club. A proud coach, John Dimmer, and a proud captain, Darren Harris, hold the Pepsi Cup trophy high to the jubilant supporters that have swarmed onto this ground.
Thank you to Callum
Jeff Geeshan responsible for bringing him here.
Yes, a boy from Wodonga in Victoria, and
Jeff Geeshan now goes into the grand final as assistant coach with Geelong.
And maybe they can win after a long time as well, 32 years.
Medallions, they'll be handed to you by Barry McKinnon, of course.
This is the medallion presentation now to the West Perth players. We'll let John Dimmer do the talking.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a magnificent day for the West Perth Football Club.
And I'd like to particularly thank the magnificent supporters who got along today. I think we had by far the biggest contingent here, and your support, cheering, flag waving was magnificent. Commiserations obviously to Subiaco, but it's amazing what can happen when you've got a team of committed footballers like we had today. You can achieve whatever goals you set yourself, and the boys certainly did it today with the captain and vice captain and everybody else leading the way. So well done, boys. You deserve this victory. And we'll get them up one at a time. Robert Molly Malone.
Gee, he had a wonderful game, didn't he, Malone? Got away when it was necessary, Trev.
Yes, he seemed to be on his own so much, didn't he? And he wasn't tagged and manned up by Subiaco.
Neil Mildenhall.
Good second half.
Yes,
Back to his best.
Fought back really well, Neil Mildenhall, and might have done just
Stevie
enough to stay on
Truella.
the Fremantle Dockers list. And this little fella, Truella, isn't he a goer? He epitomises what's good about this West Perth team.
Ryan Smith.
Dropped off the Dockers list, but today, kicking 4 goals in the forward line, didn't get a trial with the Dockers. May get picked up by another club.
Dean Brunton.
I've admired this young man's performances in recent weeks. Well, he's hobbling now, but...
Yes, he did a hamstring early in the game, didn't he? But he showed courage to come back on, and he had another crack at McNish. Wasn't able to do the
Benny
job.
Stewart.
Did well. Stewart used off the interchange, but whenever he came onto the ground, he did what was necessary. And gained a lot of possessions for a short time.
Todd Curley.
On Subiaco Oval.
Yes. Ben Stewart, a good player when the game slows down after the initial burst, and Todd Curley had a terrific season. Back from Collingwood.
Well, he saw stars early and reached for them later.
Gavin Bell.
First-year player from Warwick. Had 11 games this season.
Brendan Logan.
And this boy has got a future.
Yes, he has. His father, who played in the 1975 grand final, will be proud today to see his son get the same medal that he got
Jeff
20 years ago. Well, he's a player who had very little football in the lead up to this game through injury, but did it well.
Ronnie Burns.
Well, not one of Ronnie's best days today, but a very inspirational opportunist half-forward flanker who's done his bit during the season.
Craig Turley.
Well, arguably the most popular player in the whole of West Australian football.
Has been for many years.
And that's a WAFL medal to go with his
Darren
AFL one.
O'Brien.
Well, he's a player that I've always admired. He's fought injury after injury to his knees, and to get this medal today, it's all been worthwhile, Darren.
Brendan Fuster.
Yes, the boy Fuster.
You like him, Trev, don't you?
Yes, we'll have to go, and I'm pretty sure the Eagles will draft him.
Well done, Brendan Fuster.
Chris Groom.
Well, he won't be playing the trumpet tonight, but by the same token, he's had a pretty good season, hasn't he?
I think he's kicked about 70-odd goals in 14 games for the Falcons,
Ashley
an average of 5. That's a very good average indeed, and he was terrific while he was on the ground, as was this player, Ashley Blurton.
He's recovered okay?
Yes, he has, and he's got to get more chances with the West Coast Eagles next year.
Ian Downsborough.
He's happy about that. Not bad when you get up off the deck after being flattened, and you can still smile at the end of the day. Well, this is another player with enormous potential, Downsborough.
He's agile, in the mould of modern-day big players. And this is the fella that I said is hard.
He's answered the challenge, hasn't he? Donnelly had him in trouble in the early part of the year. He answered the challenge remarkably well, Brendan.
Yes, he stands up very strong.
He'll be pleased with that. Another effort for the country.
Marty Whitelaw.
A lot of people in our country areas watching today. A lot of these boys started in the country. And Marty's got his own cup.
He's not letting it go.
That's the Perth Cup.
We're down to the captain.
Paul Mifka.
Almost.
And they're not boos you hear. That's the big woof they give for Paul Bifka's raking left foot kicks. And isn't he happy?
Well, he did a great job. He had a job to do. He's on a mission.
And the guy who led the way
carried it out
today,
to
one of the
its
best
full.
captains
There he
ever
is.
likely to
Yeah.
get at a football club, Darren Harris.
Well done, Darren Harris, and I think he'll be back in a moment to get another medal.
That's the coach, John Dimmer.
John Dimmer in his first year.
Well done, John.
Played football with Subiaco, coach in the Claremont Reserves for many years. Did a good job there. He's carried on those skills into league football and had done a marvellous job with West Perth this year. Mifka wears his medal proudly. I suppose he'd be a bit of a chance for the Simpson medal as well.
Yes. He would be a chance.
They're about to announce the Simpson medalist.
Good, thank you, Gary. 50 years ago, this medal was first presented. It was at the end of the World War. And since then, there's been little more than 100 medals handed out, half of those in grand finals. So winning one entitles you to belong to an elite group, including the likes of Mel Winnan and Bill Dempsey, who were the last West Perth players who won this medal. It gives me great pleasure to announce that the winner of the medal is the captain, Darren Harris.
I think Trevor Sprigg had him earmarked for this medal at the end of the second quarter.
Yeah.
And he carried it on in the second half. Congratulations to Darren Harris, Simpson medalist in the 1995 grand final. And I know the man that you walked in today with, Mel Winnan, will be very pleased to see that go to young Darren Harris. Mel Winnan, a winner of that medal in 1975 when West Perth won.
Well, I'd like to thank Mr. Simpson for the medal. Thanks Subiaco. Can't have a grand final without them, but to the 20 blokes and all the blokes that have been involved all year, sensational, mate. All the hard work that we've done has come true.
Is that word again?
And we're going to party.
Long and hard, I'd say. Well done, Darren Harris. Simpson medalist 1995 in a grand final that will be long remembered. Now Brendan Barrows, who played centre-half back and did such a sterling job for West Perth in outpointing Andrew Donnelly, is down there with John Anea. John?
Well, Bunny, what a great day for you.
Oh, yeah, mate, tremendous, mate. To come out here and the boys had the week off. We came out, we watched the AFL guys that had a week off and came out and they destroyed their side, so we followed that as that was our motive to do exactly what they did. And the boys come out and we did it. It was great.
And especially, there's a little bit more to it, hasn't there? You unfortunately missed out in the grand final a number of years ago, and at last you've had your chance.
Yeah, I missed out on the one in 91, a 1-1 with Claremont in 89. So I've got two now, so Bertie Malone got the trifecta. I was hoping to be with a trifecta with him, but I'll stick to the double, I think.
Well done, mate. And look, I thought you played extremely well, especially over that final series. And congratulations on a good game and a great final outcome.
Thanks, John, mate.
On you, buddy.
Yeah, see you later, mate.
Thanks, Trev.
Thank you, John. John Anea down there getting the emotion that surrounds the West Perth team through Brendan Barrows.
I think they're going to walk a lap of honour here by the looks, DJ.
You couldn't blame them for being a bit tired.
Yes.
You did make the point early, Trevor. This will be very trying today. And it really shone out that West Perth, that physical pressure early that was in this game, would have been energy sapping for a lot of those players. It's a time where you feel a bit sorry for the vanquished, Subiaco. They're a very good football club. They've had a wonderful year in the home and away, but of course they're nowhere to be seen now. They've left, and West Perth can only parade their banners, flags and medals for this very big crowd. Well, the West Perth coach, John Dimmer, standing alongside John Anea, and he'd be a very proud man, I think, John.
Well, getting used to these interviews, JD, after the end of the season, the pre-season comp, you took it off, and now this one, it's a fantastic event.
This is the big one. This is the one we've been working at all year. All the training, all the team meetings you have, the ups and downs. this is what it's all about, man. It is fantastic.
So it's even best than West Coast Amateurs, is it?
I mean, that was a bloody good one. I thoroughly enjoyed that, but I think as you go up, you've got to say that this is the best.
And I guess, you know, for your own personal point of view, JD, you know, you're at Claremont for a number of years as the reserves coach, and at last you've been given an opportunity, and in your first year as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you often think about. I did apply for a few jobs at different clubs earlier on, but West Perth were the ones that were good enough to give me the opportunity, and it's tremendous to be able to reward them by their faith in me.
JD, going into today's game, was there any sort of different strategies that you tried after the second semi-final? Or was
No, not really. It was basically just carry on. I mean, we'd won the second semi, so there wasn't much point in changing it around too much. I think the week off, in hindsight, probably had a bit of a bearing at it. You only had to have a look at the AFL games yesterday as well. I don't know if that gave the boys a bit of a boost seeing those results, but I think it did help out in the long run.
You're hiding the forward line. You had three bigs there for quite a majority of the game. That seemed to sort of unsettle Subiaco, especially with the dominance of the midfield.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good performance by the big boys up there. I mean, if one of them was under control, then another one would pop up. You know, Ryan Smith had a burst, Groomy, Downsbury did his job, Houston did a bit around the ground as well. But the little blokes in the midfield, they were just outstanding. I mean, the captain who's won the Simpson medal, I thought his game today, and all year really, but today in particular, was just out of this world.
He was amazing. He seemed to manage to get those kicks out in tight situations,
he did.
wasn't he? I mean, kick a couple of goals.
And that just lifts everybody, because all the other players see it happen and they say, well, it's good enough for the captain, it's good enough for me to do it, and they get in there as well.
Yeah, I noticed you made reference to Craig Turley. You know, he did a couple of, especially in that first quarter, he did a couple of great efforts where he sort of was bowled over and got that second effort.
I mean, that's the sort of bloke he is. Turles just goes and goes and goes and gives 100%. You could have blokes hanging off him, bashing into him, whatever. He just plays the ball as hard as he can.
Well, JD, look, have a great night tonight.
We certainly will. Yeah. We'll have a beauty.
No, well done again.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Two Johns, John and Ia, talking with the West Perth coach, John Dimmer, after this exciting win.
Trevor, often grand finals are won basically by the players, but I think it would be fair comment to say, wouldn't it, in this particular case, that the coach has played a very significant role, particularly during the final series.
Yes, I think that's true, Wal, and we did hint that we thought even before the game we couldn't see a tagger for Darren Harris. He's come out and won the Simpson medal, but I think he's a sort of player you've got to sit on and try and minimise his influence on a game, and really Gary Buckenara didn't have that player at his side. He probably stuck with a bit of his experience, thinking that would give him the advantage. The stats there show that West Perth had 6 more kicks. They've had 25 more hand passes. They've really controlled the ball most of the day. And John Dimmer has done a terrific job. He reacts well to situations, and he's a very good coach.
The Mifka thing was a good point, wasn't it? And then Ryan Smith again today. There's been those important moves that he's been willing to make, and most of them have worked for him.
So great courage in taking Mifka out of the midfield, putting him at fullback. The tactics were good. Obviously, his planning was done. I did say when we came here, while that the conditions were going to favour West Perth. That's not to take anything away from their performance. Was absolutely outstanding. But when you had the week's rest, you've got the tools, you've got the tired, experienced legs of Subiaco. It was all pointing to a Falcons victory today. I wanted to change my tip before the start of the game.
I wanted to change it about half-time, I can tell you.
Well, your tipping this year hasn't been very good. We go back to Adelaide and things like that.
Yes, I
still waiting for that meal. Let's have a look at the
hamburger next week.
We've had it.
Let's have a look at the way the game unfolded, with West Perth running out winners 21-11, 137 to 12-9, 81. That's a margin of 56 points. It's a big win, not as much as the 1975 victory by 104 points over South Fremantle, but nevertheless a very significant victory by the West Perth Football Club. And as you've heard said today, they will party long and hard into the night tonight, right through Leederville up to Joondalup, I'd say, which will take in Sorrento, I hope. Well, that's it for our season. It's been a wonderful season. It's a good way to finish. I'm pretty excited about the way it's finished. Thanks to everyone who's contributed to a wonderful year of football, including my co-commentators Wally Foreman and Trevor Sprigg. I hope you've enjoyed it at home. Good afternoon for now.